Check,
Mike?
1, 2.
Use your own microphone. Get off mine.
Check, 1, 2. 6 o'clock.
Is it legal?
It's a full house. Hi, honey. You didn't bring the teleprompter. I'm nervous.
Oh, my word.
I don't know what to say.
Hey, Jill. The caterer's gonna come get the hot box. Will you just stick it out front? Thank you. Or Tyler, or somebody.
Let me know when we're ready.
We're ready.
Austin? We're good? All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the December 12th regular meeting 2023 to order. I show the time 6 o'clock. I also show that we have a full quorum here, so no need to, my thing keeps adjusting here, consider allowing remote participation. First up we have is adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes or removal of anything?
Yes. So from new business, we moved to consent agenda number 9, which was discussion and consideration for the cottages at Marvin Garden Subdivision Road acceptance petition. We moved that to the consent agenda. Also from new business, we moved to the consent agenda discussion and consideration for the cottages at Marvin Garden Subdivision full bond release. And then we also added under the consent agenda number 11, consideration of exemption of section 9.3, section 4 for procurement policy for volunteer appreciation event. And then we added under unfinished business a new number 3, final review of GEO bond educational materials, flyer and postcard. And I believe that is it. Yep, that's
Okay. Any other changes?
it for me.
And Austin, our conversation earlier about scheduling for 2024, we just want to bring that up. Okay. All right. Thank you. So with that, I'll need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. First up, we have, before the Pledge of Allegiance, the adoption of previous minutes.
I have no changes.
Anyone else?
No changes.
Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the previous minutes.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heard you loud and clear in the back over there. Good job. That's one of Bob's grandchildren. Welcome to the Bob's family. Next up, we have public comment period. Austin, do we have anyone that has signed up?
No one has signed up for general public comment.
Okay, then we'll move on to organizational session. First up, we have the swearing in of myself, I guess. All right, it's my turn, all right. This is only so we can keep the meeting going.
Is the mic on?
Yeah, just you can hold the book, the good book. Yeah, I'll need something to read off of. Is this, oh, you didn't make two. Official here. I, Joseph Ermely Polino Jr.,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
and that I will be, and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities
and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of said state,
not inconsistent
not inconsistent
with the Constitution of the United States,
with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as mayor of the Village of Marvin.
as mayor of the Village of Marvin.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Barry. Thank you. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to break that up as well, so. thanks. All right. Sign that.
Joe, do yours faster.
Trust me, I hope I don't speak too fast. So let me know. Jamie, I'll have to come on.
Oh. Yeah, I wish.
You guys can all come on.
I don't know why I moved. I'm gonna get pictures of everybody.
Short sentences. Don't do the whole thing.
All right. Okay.
Oh, it's left and right.
Left hand on left. right hand up. I, Jamie Harris Lean,
I, Jamie Harris Lyon,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina,
I will be faithful and
bear true
bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state,
maintain, and defend the Constitution
and laws of said state,
and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution
not inconsistent with the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office,
as council member for the Village of Marvin,
the council member of Village of Marvin,
so help me God.
so help me God.
You need to sign that?
Here, you guys all sit together for a picture. Thank you.
Brought my own. Oh, yeah.
Your grandkids?
Yeah.
Let the grandkids come up? You guys can all come up.
Yeah.
There you go, you get to hold the book, how about that?
Cool.
All right, Bob, I'll go real slow for you.
Well, wait a minute, we get done with this, I want the swearing at ceremony with, okay.
Left hand down, right hand up, we're good to go. All right, I, Robert Anthony Markleese,
I, Robert Anthony Markleese,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States,
and laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear full allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional authorities and powers
which are or may be established
which may be or are established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution
maintain, and defend the Constitution
and laws of said state,
and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of my office as council member for the Village of Marvin.
of my duties as council member of the Village of Marvin.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
4 more years, we got him. 4 more years. He brought his own book.
All right, you guys all get together?
Okay.
Take a picture.
Oh, photo.
Okay, everybody smile. All right, good job, thank you.
Can't get out of it. You gonna make a copy of these, or you keep these all up? Yeah, I know where to stop this thing. All right, John, please come up. This way too, we'll use this screen together. All right. All right, I, John Edward Barasich,
I, John Edward Barasich,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States,
and laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution
maintain, and defend the Constitution
and laws of said state,
and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution
not inconsistent with the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as council member for the Village of Marvin.
as council member for the Village of Marvin.
So help me God.
So help me God.
still in the organizational section.
All right, now fun stuff. We get to appoint, first up, the mayor pro tem. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Kim Vandenberg.
Any other nominations?
I second that.
We cease the nominations.
All right. Seeing no more nominations, does somebody, Austin, is there,
You need, someone now needs to make a motion.
I need a motion. And there should be a thing in here for you to read, right?
I do not have one preloaded for this, but it's simply to appoint whoever you would like to be.
So anyone who wants to say, move to appoint Kim as the,
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kim Vandenberg as mayor pro tem for the continuing session. Does that work?
further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All those opposed?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
See, now we don't have to change the signs and all
Yeah.
that.
No more sign changes. All right, so next,
Come on, we gotta go do my oath of office.
One more.
oh.
Sworn out, but no, leave it right there so I can read it too.
Do you have anyone here to,
No, I got nobody. I got nobody here with me.
all right.
Okay, which hand? Right?
No,
Left?
left hand,
Left?
right hand
Right,
up. Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
All right.
All right, I, Kimberly Bach Vanderberg,
I, Kimberly Bach Vandenberg,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States,
and laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authority
which are or may be established for the government thereof,
which are or may be established for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution
maintain, and defend the Constitution
and laws of said state,
and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution
not inconsistent with the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as mayor pro tempore for the village of Marvin.
as mayor pro tempore for the village of Marvin.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Okay, so you just, okay, so, you go into your, here you go, this one. Now, should be for the 12th. You don't have anyone for the 12th? Today. Well, there you go. How about that? It's usually it populates at the top of the list.
All right, moving on to further appointments. Next up, we have the appointment to delegate and alternate to serve on the CRTPO board. I did. Okay. Appointment. I don't know why it switches on me. I think Kim plays around and she hits my computer because she knows I'm not good at it. Appointment of council liaisons to the planning board and PRG board.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Bob Markleese as the council liaison to the planning board.
Any other nominations?
Oh, I nominate him, sorry.
Hearing none, I need a motion.
Make a motion to appoint Bob Markleese as the council liaison to the planning board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Hearing none? Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you.
I don't have to swear you in for that. All right, next up, we have appointment to the planning board.
Nope.
PRG board, I'm sorry.
I'd like to nominate John Barisic for the Parks, Rec, and Greenway Board.
Did you know this was happening? It's always good to know.
And he was here too, and he didn't use the restroom.
Well, that's bad. When you do leave, that's when we start nominating you for things. You'll learn that quick here, so. Any other nominations for PRNG Board? Hearing none, I'll need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint John Barisic as the council liaison for the Parks, Rec, and Greenway Board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, congratulations. All right.
Not gonna let you get too far
We'll
from
move on
BRG.
now.
Now you can move on.
Yes, okay, now we're on to appointment of delegate and alternate to serve on CRTPO board, which Charlotte Regional Transportation. I'm sure what the
Planning
Planning
organization.
organization, okay, forgot that last two, there was another name for that, so. All right, do I have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Jamie Lyon as the delegate and Joe Polino as the alternate.
To sign up for that. We know everyone there, so we're in. Any others? Nominations? Hearing none, I'll need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jamie Lyon as the delegate and Joe Polino as the alternate to CRTPO Board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Sorry, honey, one more meeting I need to go to occasionally.
She's not listening to you at all. She isn't. Totally not.
She's playing Candy Crush.
Solitaire.
All right, next up, we have appointment of delegate and alternate to serve on the Central Line Regional Council Board of Delegates.
I'd like to nominate Wayne Dethridge as the delegate and Jamie Lyon as the alternate.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Wayne Dethridge as the delegate and Jamie Lyon as the alternate to Centralina Regional Council Board of Delegates.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have appointment to the delegate and alternate to WUMA, Western Union County Municipal Alliance.
I'd like to nominate Joe Polino as the delegate and Andy Wortman as the alternate.
Any others? Please?
Please.
I'm just kidding. I like that group. It's a good group. Hearing none, I'll need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Joe Polino as the delegate and Andy Wortman as the alternate to WUMA.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for that. Presentations, I don't show we have any. So moving on, reports and updates. We'll start off with manager's report. Christina.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have a lot, actually. Start off with the worst.
Is your mic on?
It is.
Can you
hear me?
talk louder?
Can you hear me?
A little better. It's a little closer, yeah.
She's giving us bad news. She don't want to say it loud.
I'll turn you up, Christina.
Testing. Okay, that's better. Okay, so actually, yeah. Tullamore Phase 3, if you all remember about, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago, we entered into a contract for the construction of Tullamore Phase 3. One of the caveats to getting Tullamore HOA to sign off on some trail relocation due to some erosion water issues, we had a property owner that directly abutted the trail, which we promised them to install trees, about 17 trees around their property to provide some screening. I don't know what's transpired from the marsh available tree list to now, but the tree that they requested specifically is not available. There's very limited availability, apparently. So I may have to get Tyler to help me out on this a little bit, but one of the trees that Bob Nunnenkamp recommended, I don't know the exact type. We're going to contact the Shubs and see if the Shubs are the ones that were affected, the affected party, and we're going to see if they are interested in this type of tree. But the ones that they requested are no longer available. It's going to be about $4,000 to provide the trees that they requested. We did promise them to put these trees in, or not to put them in, but to provide the trees. That's what we were told at the time, that Marsh was available to provide based on the wildlife.
So that Marsh was going to be providing these trees?
Yes.
Not that the Village of Marvin was providing these trees?
We told them that the village would provide the trees based on Marsh's donation.
Okay, well, if the trees aren't available, then,
So we wanted to reach out to you all and just see if you're interested in spending any type of dollars for the trees, or if you just want us to say that we're gonna give them the recommendation of what's available currently.
What tree did they ask for?
Was it a cedar? Eastern red cedars. And there was an approximate size that we had told them at the time. I think it was 5 to 8 feet. Is that right? Do you remember? 5 gallon.
Which is not a very large tree.
And that came to $4,000 for those trees?
When we priced them out, it was what, 300-ish? Per tree.
Hold on, you gotta come up to
Can you
the
come, yeah,
mic.
can you come up?
I know this is gonna be a pain for you guys, but you gotta get used to coming up here whenever Christina's talking.
And that's for the public who's ever listening to.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, just like online, looking around, shopping around at Eastern Red Cedars, it was gonna be like somewhere from like 3,600 to like 4,000 to get
17 trees.
set, yeah, for 17.
Oh. How did we get to 17 when you just said 5?
No, 5 gallon.
Like each tree was like the 5.
So what happened between when they were available at Marsh and, I mean, obviously they're not available now, but why didn't we procure them and have them?
They wanted, we were told at the time that fall would be the perfect time to plant them so they didn't have to water them. So we started the process, a couple,
Like November.
yeah, months ago, a couple weeks ago, to get the trees. And so we've been going back and forth with, I think, Bob. And the tree that they had initially requested, after we went through several rounds of emails to get this specific tree, they had switched several times for whatever reason, I'm not really sure. And then we finally agreed to this red cedar.
Has the trail been built?
Yes.
Is it an option to get them in the spring if they're not available now? Will they be available?
We can ask
during
Bob.
trail?
That's a good question. We can ask Bob.
I mean, I understand that the specific tree that they want is not available right now, but if they're willing to wait until spring when it is available, if it will be, then that may be a possible solution. Otherwise, I would look to see if there are some other evergreens that might be similar enough on their plant list to see if we could do it that way, because I don't think that, and I'm speaking for myself, but I don't think that council really wants to spend that much money on screening for a trail, because we have not spent money on screening for trails in the past.
Correct.
So,
And the only reason that this is transpiring is
Right.
because there were trees available through Marsh in order to donate them, and it would be no village dollars spent on this, because if we start spending village dollars on one resident, then every resident's gonna ask for something. So, I mean, I would find out if it's gonna be available. The answer is gonna be, we don't know,
Okay.
but maybe they do. But if not, I would go back to them and say, here are your options. This one's not available. We can wait until the spring and see if it's available. If it's not, then you're still gonna have to make some sort of decision, because I am not in the position to spend $4,000 on an individual homeowner for trees.
Times how many homeowners on
Right.
trails.
Correct.
so their
Okay.
only option would be pick another tree now or wait until the spring and see if they're available, and if not, have a contingency for in the spring.
Okay. Well, we'll kind of play it by ear. We'll come back to you if they request anything different than what we're able to provide.
To be clear, the village is not paying for it. These are still being donated through Marsh?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And we're not planting them. We went back and forth several rounds, and the homeowner would plant them.
From their
Okay.
stock in that tree.
So the second thing, I wanted to mention 2 things real fast. The dry pond, we were actually getting ready to go out to bid on that project. And one of the subsequent items on your agenda is the Part F application. That dry pond is actually part of that project. So we're going to kind of kick that down the road just a little bit until we can get the Part F application rolling and the grant administration during that dry pond. The rain garden dry pond, it's actually part of we submitted that as a part of the Part F application.
Davey, did you get that information to Keith, and did he get back to you with any recommendations before we do put it out to bid?
Remind me, no, we have not gotten that information yet.
Back from him?
Yeah.
But you sent it to him?
not sure I even sent it to him yet, but I'll
Okay.
follow up with him tonight.
Let's make, because he wanted to see whatever plans that we had and whatever plants that they had.
Yes,
He wanted
yes.
that in the email, so that he can make any sort of recommendations before we go out for bid for it, so that we can, if we need to change anything or add anything, it'll be pretty solid.
Yeah, that's
Okay, we
correct.
can do
I'll
that.
email him after the meeting.
Okay.
Good catch.
And the last thing I just wanted to mention is Public Works staff is working on brine application policies and procedures. Just wanted to give you all a heads up. We may come back to you all at a later date and just provide an update that we've purchased a brine tank. Currently, what we've done in the past is we've had one of our subcontractors lay out brine. It's about $1,500 an application. So we're going to look at investing into a little bit of equipment to make it easier, and we can do it in-house and have it in perpetuity. So 1 or 2 years, hopefully it would pay for itself. I did want to mention, I know we've talked about having the snowplow on the truck, but it's not even going to be an option for this year. The truck, we've ordered it. We won't see that truck for probably 4 or 5 months, so the brine is what we're going to have to do for this year, and at a later date into '24, we can have a conversation about how we're going to do snowplow, brine. Our engineer, we probably want to get some recommendations from him too, because there could be potential damage to roads with the snowplow, so we'll have to figure out what roads we do that and what roads we do the brine application. So we'll work on that in '24, but until then, we are working on identifying what roads would be hazards for emergency vehicles, kind of the slopey roads that have a lot of shading, Providence Estates being one of them, portions of Firethorn, majority of Heritage Oak, some of those roads that we own that have issues with having emergency access. So Public Works staff is working on that. We'll have that in place here in the next couple of weeks. Any questions on any of that?
Just a quick question, since I'm still not necessarily in favor of a snowplow, because snow will probably be gone within the day if it does happen, and no one's really moving, but is there gonna be who's gonna be running it? Is there gonna be any formal training? Because I know my family has a business in Pennsylvania, and they have multiple accidents that happen with plows.
Yeah, we'll have to have a deeper conversation about that, because there are some liability hazards, not just with staffing and training them, but also damage to the truck, damage to our roads, and that kind of thing. So we'll have a deeper conversation in '24 in the non-season of when we're going to not be using it, so we can go over that. But yes, they would have to have training.
Okay.
Are there any questions on?
Do we have to have snow to actually
We do, but, and we get it every
Send them up
so
north
many years.
to go help somebody, another
You know,
town.
First responders have to
Okay.
go to work.
And I will just mention for the public that may be listening, if you are not on a village road, we are not brining your roads. We only brine village-owned roads. You can call us if you have any questions about if you're a DOT road or if you're a village road. DOT is only, from our understanding, is only brining Newtown Road. So if you're in any other road in Marvin, we're sorry, we can't help you. Unfortunately, we would have to have some agreements in place with DOT to even apply brine on their roads, and we don't have those.
The county hasn't committed to anything, correct?
Say again?
The county has not committed to any,
No, the county doesn't do roads.
okay,
Yeah,
at all?
no. We're looking at just sections, again, of village roads and also intersections of village roads as well. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to call us, but that's it.
All right, moving on, planners report.
So the main thing I want to update you guys on is the UDO project. You guys all should have your binder now. It does have every section in there outside of Article 8, which is the last article that will be introduced at the next planning board meeting in January. Basically, just wanted to go ahead and get it to you guys. It's up to you on how much you want to read and go into it. I am going to schedule small groups with council to kind of go. I'll probably have 2 of them. I'm going to have one probably prior to the January meeting to kind of just get the council members up to speed on the project overall, and then one after the January meeting, because that Article 8 is the zoning districts and permitted uses and so on. So it's the last article. So it's basically where everybody's going to be looking at for the most part. If you have any questions as you go through, just jot them down. Let me know. and then we can address those during the small groups. Ptolemy and I are currently working on basically an Excel that cross-references current ordinance with the new ordinance, as well as like so we can highlight major changes. So we'll hit on that over the next month. Other than that, Cottages at Marvin Gardens is closing out tonight. You guys move that to your consent. So those roads will be accepted. And then Winmore is currently the outstanding improvements, which were the pond conversion and the final roads. The pond's being converted at the current moment, and then roads will be lined up, weather contingent with temperature within the next few weeks, so that project will also be wrapped up. Other than that, that's all I got, unless council has any questions.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Hunter. Next up, roads report.
I kind of merged that into the manager's report, so I don't have anything else, sir.
Nothing? Okay. She always makes fun of me. Deputies report. Do we have a deputy here?
It was here.
Was here or not here? Any questions on that? Did you have a chance to review it?
Yeah. No.
106 was the fastest.
122 on Waxaw Marvin Road.
I was trying to look at that. I didn't do the totals of the two different. Are they essentially about the same? Volume.
162, 152.
It's really amazing how close that is for those two. And by the way,
152,000.
I just want to point out, since we are talking roads, 524 is when I came through, and it was at a snail's crawl through here, no issues, but it was going all of 5 miles an hour. There was still movement, but I think, and Andy will probably concur with me on this, that or maybe Bob would, that since we've opened up that roundabout, there are more people taking that. And we're seeing, I'm already seeing potential issues with reasons to get
Newtown Road.
take over the road and consider who can or can't be on that road. It was literally at a 5-mile crawl coming over at 524.
Literally took me 3 minutes to get out of my driveway to come here tonight. That's a lot of cars.
And since we're on roads, are we going to talk about roads at all again? Because I did have a conversation with the mayor-elect of Waxhaw.
We don't have anything on the agenda for roads at all.
All right, that being said, I just want to note, I did reach out to, and talking to the mayor-elect of Waxhaw, who's appointed for the next 4 years, as we were talking about potential park and things, what came up was the road that I think we had some citizens in here concerned about not giving the attention on the far side in your neighborhood.
Bonds Grove and Waxhaw.
Bonds Grove and Waxhaw. And as I was talking to him, explaining our situation, I'm realizing he actually told me that he sits in that for approximately 15 minutes every morning, and he'd love to get a solution with that. So his first action, I talked to him yesterday, was to talk to the chief of police for Waxhaw to see if we could get there, instead of relying on the county 3-hour minimum. He said he thinks that it only need for about an hour and a half, same type of volunteer program that they could do. And I said, I think I could get my council behind sharing the cost of Waxhaw Police. The only hitch, I think you may have mentioned, is it's not our roads, it's still a state road, but I can't imagine if the county doesn't allow us to use our own funds like we have in the past to share the cost with Waxhaw. Because in fairness, majority of those people coming through there would be Waxhaw residents, I would guess.
So
all we're doing is
I know we can't use PAL bill dollars for traffic control. We can use general fund dollars for traffic control. The only one question I would have, and I don't know the answer to this, is jurisdictional boundaries as far as if they.
Well, yeah, okay, so, and that's what I said to Joe, because it's not Waxhaw there, so can you put a Waxhaw officer there? But we never had to get any sort of approval from DOT to
put
put officers
there.
at that corner.
it was just the county
It was
that
the
said,
county
yeah,
because it
we'll.
was within the county, so I can't imagine that the county is going to have an issue if we,
I don't think it would be, it's not necessarily jurisdiction of the road, it's jurisdiction of being able to enforce the laws of that jurisdiction. I don't know if Waxhaw,
not enforce any laws, they're just directing traffic.
unless somebody does something bad.
Well, I have a question for Chaplin on this. So in light of using municipal dollars outside of the municipal limits, would that not be considered that if they put their officers and pay them to be over here directing traffic outside of their limits?
I'm not worried about them, let's just worry about us.
But I mean,
Let's just worry about us.
well, I'm just saying, is it, would it be feasible if they couldn't use tax dollars outside of their municipal limits? So that would be using tax dollars to put an officer down there, correct? No, I'm just.
Yeah, but they may be able to pull it off. I would need to look into that. There are some concerns, but it still benefits their taxpayers because their taxpayers are going beyond their municipal limits.
Okay.
So I think they can get around it that way.
Okay.
And there are actually are Waxhaw subdivisions
Every now and
on
then.
Bonds Grove Church Road. So
There are, that touch that.
Barrington, yeah.
Okay.
Barrington is on Bonds Grove Church Road. So
Okay,
that might
okay.
lend
Well,
more to our
anyways, I
argument.
just thought it was refreshing. He's very open to it. He wants to put it by his council. He actually sits in that traffic. So that may be coming across where someone may be reaching out to you and may have to come to our approval, which I assume, yeah, I want to support that side of town too, because that's getting worse, and we both agreed, the mayor-elect and I both agreed that that will be finished before they widen 16 anyway, so. But just, it was a good conversation, bottom line, so, let you know. All right, moving forward, deputies report, we were talking about that. No issues there, so next up is planning board.
Well, just like Hunter said, we're going to be finishing up in January with Marvin Development Ordinance. We're going to be dealing with the zoning district and the establishment of that, so that's pretty much it.
All right, any questions for Bob? All right, next up we have PR&G board. Kim.
So, this is my last time. So we had a Pocket Park update, which, and this was my mistake at the top, there is a Pocket Park update on the consent agenda that I would like to pull off and put in unfinished business. I forgot to do that.
So
we can do,
suspend the
no,
rules
we
and
can just do
pull
it, right? We can just do it when we get to consent?
Yes, you can do it.
Okay, all right. So I'll let Davey update from that meeting. And then we talked about trying to figure out a way to welcome new residents and trying to get some sort of list, like when houses sell within Marvin, we can do something, some sort of welcome packet so that they can get on the email distribution list. And so we're working on that. And then they elected new officers. So Christina Culp is now the chair. No, I'm sorry. Jennifer Castellucci is now the chair, and Christina Culp is going to stay as vice chair. And there is an opening on Park Trek and Greenway, so if anybody knows anybody, or if you're listening and you would like to apply, please do.
All right, thank you. Great opportunity to get to know what's going on in Marvin and affect what's happening. Thank you, Kim. Next up, we have event planning report. Tyler, what you got?
Just want to update you guys. The friendship tree is done. We took in 50 kids this year. All those names got gone. Mayor Pro Tem really helped us out, organized a great volunteer group. We got them in here, got everything packed. Mayor dropped them off last week over in Monroe at the Christmas Bureau, so that's done. Everybody in the community did a great job helping kids in Union County. We just had our tree lighting last Saturday. Really good turnout, really great job by the public works staff, keeping the parking flowing. We had a much bigger turnout than anticipated, and those guys handled it great. The next event we're going to be looking forward to will be the Easter egg hunt on March 23rd. You guys will hear a little bit more about that in the upcoming meetings once we get a little further down the road on it. If you see, I dropped off a Marvin Day sponsorship. This is kind of just the money summary of where we're at right now. You guys also in your emails will have an updated tracking sheet where you can see we've added some names to the bottom that we found, and each of them have been assigned. If you look on this, you can see the received and the pledged amount of money so far. That's all we got. After the new year, we're going to be on the downhill slide, so it's going to be knocking on our door. So we really got to, I'm going to stay on the staff, and we just got to make sure that we're reaching out to everybody, keeping us updated, and let's just keep reaching out to people and get as much money as we can. And then lastly, still on Marvin Day, Davey, myself, and Mayor Pro Tem had a walk at the park after our subcommittee meeting regarding Marvin Day, and we were kind of wondering on some direction on how we felt about maybe allowing some parking at Eford Park on Marvin Day. We believe that we can probably safely get 75 cars, maybe at 75 to 100 cars there that day before we start turning people away to go to Marvin Ridge High School to get on a trolley to come. Just seems like in our mind that it's a good way to at least people get people out of the house and plan on coming to the event. And if the park's full, then we'll have full capacity signs, we'll have officers of the road, we'll detour them to the high school where there will be a charter trolley running circles back and forth, dropping people off, picking people up from the park. Absolutely.
Do what the Charlotte Airport does now is when you're going to take off a flight, you can pre-reserve a ticket for there. And if you don't do it, you're likely parking in long-term parking. My wife learned that recently. But if we get RSVPs, we'll get a good idea of how many cars and which cars. Encourage them to fill the cars up because of space, and that we RSVP it, we'll have a good idea, and you can issue tickets. If they don't have that ticket, you send them on down the road.
Keep on rolling.
First come, first serve.
Gotcha.
Just a thought.
Is everybody pretty cool with the idea of having cars there on Marvin Day?
Yeah, I mean, when we walked it, I think there's definitely some opportunities, especially if we have park staff doing what they did at the tree lighting. And basically, like, you're going to park there, you're going to park there, you need to scoot over some. Like, they did a great job. So I, after we walked it and looked at it, I think that in order to get more people at Marvin Day, this is a good way to try to do it. It's not an all-day thing, so people aren't going to be like in and out. You're in, you're there, and once it's full, and if you leave, then we know there's an open spot, so we can start letting more people in.
Minimum 4 people in the car.
Tyler, if you don't mind, I have an item on the work session for January. This would be better suited if you don't mind.
Okay.
So if we can hold that conversation until January, if that's okay.
Gotcha.
Is that okay?
Is it safe to assume that the numbers that you're talking about there is after you have a certain amount reserved for staff and volunteers and the vendors?
Yes, this is after we encumber all those numbers, and we do lose a chunk of the park to firework safety radius.
Yeah.
This is kind of just with all that in play. This is, the guys pack it pretty tight in there, so we think pretty safe. So, anybody got any other questions? All right, thank you.
Coffee with council debrief, we didn't have anybody there.
No one there?
Nope.
I came.
We had Hunter.
You weren't there?
We had one person.
I'm sorry.
We had
Didn't
Hunter.
show up.
We had Hunter.
Hunter came and we talked about the UDO. We did not have any residents come
There you go.
again. But we'll keep showing up.
We're not stopping.
Did we talk about coffee with council with kids yet? Did that come up?
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
It's not on here.
Well, let's
Well,
talk
it
about
is part of
that.
coffee with council.
So we had 2 families come. They each had 2 children.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. We had 3 families come. They each had 2 children. So we had 6 children there. It was lovely. We had cookies and juice. We sat in the community room, and
Good questions were asked by the kids.
great questions were asked,
And then
and
the
a lot of
adults.
them were addressed with the upcoming GEO bond. So, yeah, it was great.
We had one resident who, again, was concerned about what they heard, and this goes back to where you're hearing your information from, but they live in the neighborhood right behind us, and were concerned about a bar being brought in or whatever else. Oh, or I think it was a grocery store.
Grocery store.
Yeah, so, again, you gotta be careful where you get your information from, so we were able to clear that up, which was nice, and being able to talk to them, and they liked what we were talking about, so it looked like it was very successful from that standpoint. But, hopefully we'll get more kids the next time.
I noticed that the parents kind of educated their children on what questions to ask on some of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to show up, so they had the kids do it.
That's okay. I'll answer those questions.
All right, any other thing for coffee with council? That said, we're moving on to room over report.
All right, well, so I have the minutes in front of me for notes, so refresh my memory. But, so we discussed ongoing the water sewer status. We're going to invite Brian Matthews to the February 22nd meeting to discuss that, give us an update on what's going on with that. Didn't have any update on the conditional annexation bill that we've been talking about. We're going to send an invitation to Jeff Rowell, who's the new county commissioner, to speak to the members in January. And we spoke about the traffic safety grant that is out there. I thought that would be a good idea. Mayor Horn noted that Sheriff Cathy is favorable to it and thinks it's obtainable. One thing that Mayor Horn pointed out, he spoke to Sheriff Cathy about the amount of troopers that are assigned to Union County. And when Sheriff Cathy was a state trooper back in 1978, there were 13 troopers assigned to Union County at that point. There were roughly 50,000 residents in the county at that point. There are now over 250,000 residents in the county, and we still have 13 state troopers in the county. So I asked Mayor Horn if he thought that it would be a good idea to petition the state for more state troopers to be added to Union County, being that we are 5 times the population that we were in 1978. He thought that would be a good idea, and he offered to reach out to some of his contacts to see what he could come up with on that. So if there was any course of action we could take on that. So, and we're going to continue that discussion in the next meeting. And that's about it.
There was discussion at the meeting I was at before that, of possibly inviting state legislators to talk about the de-annexation bill there.
That wasn't talked about this past meeting.
It
but
wasn't?
No.
Okay, because they were trying to get a location because they thought that would be well attended more than what we normally get, so I suggested
We were,
the church in Waxhaw.
we were mostly alternates at this meeting, so
Okay.
some of that stuff didn't get discussed. Jeff wasn't there, you weren't there, so.
All right.
Yep.
All right, next up, we have the consent agenda. Do we want to?
Yeah, can I pull off number 7, Pocket Park update, and put it on unfinished business number 4? I'm sorry.
Are you going to update that?
No, to unfinished business.
Unfinished.
Number 4, please, I'm sorry.
All right.
So
Any
then,
other changes?
nope,
It's not going to update yours until after.
that's fine, that's fine. So then I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. All right. We're on to public hearing, correct?
Mhm.
All right, next up, we have public hearing for discussion regarding general obligation bonds, adoption of bond orders and resolution And resolution setting a special bond referendum. All right. We need a motion to open the hearing? We do this every year, every time we do that, so. All right, so we are in open session.
Yep, the public hearing has begun. You have the two bond orders in your packet. These were introduced at the November 14th meeting. They were published in the newspaper on December 2nd with the notice that the village council would hold a public hearing tonight. These are on file in my office, and the statement of disclosures relating to the bonds is published on our website, and it's also on file in my office. Mr. Mayor, if you would so like, this is the time where you should invite the public to speak.
Okay.
I would also remind you, Mr. Mayor, you also have our bond counsel online, as well as Chazo, our financial advisors, if there's any questions directed that you want to defer to any one of those, just so you know.
They're waiting in the wings. They're like
Yes.
my call that I can make. Is it?
Phone a friend.
Phone a friend.
But this public hearing is required under the bond statute, so that's, you have to give the public the notice and the opportunity. And that was, I think Austin said, published December 2nd or 4th.
December 2nd. So we
Okay, has
published.
anyone signed up?
No one has signed up, but I would encourage you to ask anyone in the audience if they wish to speak.
Okay. Anyone here in the audience here to ask any questions about the upcoming bond we're proposing? Okay. Hearing none.
All right, we did have one email sent in that I'm going to read. Dear Council, it's my son's birthday today, or I would be there in person. I wanted to share my thoughts on the GO bond and ask a few questions. I'll watch the replay of this meeting to hear your answers. We may be a very wealthy town, but almost tripling our taxes for the projects in the GO bond is problematic for many of us. Can we structure the referendum to vote project by project? There's transparency doing it that way so residents know exactly how their tax dollars will be spent. It will also give you specific marching orders on priorities from residents. For example, I think most residents support and are excited about a park beside Town Hall, but they do not want an amphitheater there. Why not ask residents in this referendum questions like this? Do you support a park beside Town Hall at a cost of $500,000 or whatever the actual cost is? Do you support an amphitheater at a park beside Town Hall at a cost of $2 million or whatever the actual cost is? Would you like to expand greenways, adding a total of 12 new greenways or whatever that number is at a cost of $? Would you support upgrading our current greenways by adding lights, security, et cetera, at a cost of $? Would you support taking over 25 roads in Marvin at a cost of $5 million or whatever the actual number of roads and cost is? Would you support new signage and street plates in Marvin at a cost of $850,000? I personally would love the idea of street blades, but the overall cost for signage is obscene. Would you approve a budget of $1 million or whatever you think is necessary to purchase land for a park off of ... to keep more green space in Marvin? You get the point. Break it down project by project instead of a transportation bond and a parks and rec bond with all kinds of stuff built into each bond, and see how residents want you to spend our tax dollars if they want you to spend them at all. This is transparent, and I think it will give you the guidance you are looking for. Is this possible? If it's not possible, why not? It would be worth the money to get answers to specific yes or no questions project by project. Can you guarantee that this bond only allows money to be spent on the exact projects voted on, or will money be moved around as you see fit for things that come up like land to buy? And how does it work if the bond is in its current form is approved? I keep hearing that we may not spend all the money, and if that's the case, how will our taxes be affected? Will they go down? Honestly, I think we all know that when taxes go up, they rarely go down. I'd like to hear how not spending all the money will affect our tax rate. Will you give the money you don't spend back? The other thing I would like to point out is that Marvin is being gouged on the agency prices you are being charged for artwork, marketing plans, etc. I realize you are aware of this, and I realize it's customary in the marketing world to gouge governments. It should not be this way, but it is what it is. Perhaps you should consider forming a marketing committee for the village that can advise you on marketing projects and help keep the costs down. Thanks for your thoughtful answers and consideration. Angel Martin, 8914 Laurelwood Lane, Marvin.
Does anyone want to take that?
I'll kind of jump in. I can appreciate, I can appreciate the email, and I can also appreciate that, I think some of the questions in there are very good questions to ask, and hopefully most of those questions will be answered when we do the public, do the public forum on this. I would just start out by saying, trying to do every individual project and putting them out there to vote would be just, it's not even conducive to do. I mean, you can't do it. You can't go by, you can't have the public vote on 35 different individual projects. And it's gonna, and it just becomes a quagmire, really. Our job in the village, if I can maybe, kind of pull this all together, our job in the village is not to, is really to pull all this information together to give us options in things that we look at, and we're looking at these things 5 and 10 years down the road. The road systems, the greenways, we've done surveys. The surveys have said, people said, we want greenways, we want parkways, we want all the stuff that's in this. People have said in the past that they want. Our job is to provide the vehicle to get us to that. That doesn't come in the fact that we're just going to say, okay, we're just going to do it. Let's just raise taxes to 45 cents and just be done with it. This is something we've put together. We send it out to the public. The public then says either, yes, I want this, or no, I don't. That happens in March, but between March and where we're at today, there are going to be public meetings in doing this, and we're going to try to provide, we will provide every bit of transparency that we need to provide to make sure everyone feel comfortable with what's going in with this. Because again, I think she asked some very good questions. And there's some very good points in there, and we will address those. It's not like this isn't a mandate. This isn't something we're doing. We're just creating the vehicle for what people have already told us and through surveys and said that they wanted. And all we're here to do is say, okay, this is how we're going to be able to do it. If we try to, as a village, if we try to do them one by one by one, the cost, I would venture to say, with what we're going to try to do, goes up maybe 30, 40% over time. Because we're just doing one by bit, by bit, by bit. And we're going to look at these contractors and going, yeah, we've got these 10 things, but we're just going to do them one at a time. And they're going to say, okay, we're going to price it out as one at a time, and it's going to be very costly and very expensive to us. So this is a way for us to kind of pull a lot of things to the middle of saying, we're addressing what people say they've wanted in the village, and we're trying to do it as cost-effective as we possibly can. I won't get into the details of some of the questions that she said, what if the money, what if you don't spend it? The one point I would like to say, this is more like if I'm reading it correctly, this is more like a line of credit. And it's not like they're giving us $15 million and say, here you go. And everybody's, it's like seagulls on French fries, everybody's going to try to get into it. It's what we use. If we use $2 million, then of the 15, then the other, that just sits there. We're not charged on that, unless I'm.
No, you're
Borrow what we need. That's
Right.
That was
So,
explained to us. We have so
but
many
again.
years to use that fund.
Right, but we will answer those questions in the public forums. Again, I want to thank Angel for putting this email together. These are the type things that we encourage, not only for all of our constituents, is we want to know what's on their mind and what their questions are, so we can address them. If we don't get an email, we can't address it. We think we're doing everything right. So we appreciate it. I'm hoping that she will attend all of the public forums that we're going to do to address all these questions. But all we are trying to do with these bonds are let the public vote on it. It's a yes or no. But to address all of the things that everyone is told that they wanted, because 10 people can say they want the amphitheater, and then there's 20 that say, that they don't. And it can be vice versa. You can have 100 people saying they want a farmer's market, and you have 5 people that say no. Well, which one are we going to do? And this is exactly what we're doing with the bond. We're asking the public to say, if you want to be a part of it, and we hope every single person that has the right to vote to come out and vote for it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of new to the bonds issue here, just coming on council, but it's my understanding too, some of the things that she did address in here, we really are targeting specific projects within this bond, and I think it's already been published where she was putting dollar signs. We've already applied those dollar signs, and that is available to the public at this point, correct?
And we're also
Yes,
being
it is.
very, I think we're inflating that price too, so we don't.
We've been trying to be conservative so that we're building
Right, well,
in
we're not-
time value of money and.
We
and the
also have to, we also have to understand from a council standpoint, and I hope the public appreciates this, we get one bite at the apple. So we can't come and say, okay, yeah, let's just do this, and then next year we'll try it again, and then next year we'll get some more, we have looked at this from as detailed but as high level as we possibly can to say, we're trying to address as much as everyone has told us what they've wanted here. And again, there's going to be some people for it, and there's going to be some people against it. But we have to give you the vehicle to, if you're for it, you can vote for it, and if you're not for it, then don't vote for it. Then vote no. Our job is not to convince you to vote yes or no. It's to give you the means to which you can decide what you want to do.
So, again, these are all projects that we have been told from previous surveys that the residents want done. These are projects that we have been working on for many years, trying to figure out how we're going to pay for them. This council has taken a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort to try to figure out how to do that. And we've been talking about issuing this bond for a year now?
2.
Okay, 2 years, but really gotten serious about it in the last year. So when, and I'm with Jamie, I appreciate the questions, I appreciate the email, I appreciate people taking the time to send in comments, so thank you for that. But it's, why not ask the residents, basically, questions like, what do they want? Well, we're putting it out to the residents. If this is something you guys want, vote for it. If it's not, don't vote for it. Like Jamie said, we are trying to package this in such a way that we can get a lot of projects done at a discounted rate and get it done quickly so that you can see where your money is going. So again, we're not saying, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what the taxes are going up to. We're saying, if you guys, as the community, approve this, this is then what will happen. It's up to you guys. If you guys don't want it, okay. But a lot of these projects aren't going to get done. This open space, the green space, the roads, sidewalks, that stuff is going to be pushed way down the road. And it just won't get done for a long time. And I think that the village and the residents deserve to have a lot of these projects done and done well. So again, I appreciate the email, and I hope that answered some of the questions. I do think that we have some more, specific, answers in terms of, flexibility, what the LGC requires, that I'm happy to read. We can send the email. We did put together, sorry, my eScribe logged out. So, I'm happy to read this. If you guys don't mind, just kind of run through it real quick, if that's okay.
This was to the question.
Yeah, these are to some of the
Makes
questions.
sense, because where I'm coming from is, where are residents getting their information? And that's the biggest thing. If they're relying on Nextdoor, or someone said this, someone said that, I can almost guarantee you're getting the wrong information. So that's why we have the public information meetings, and give you the opportunity to ask these questions. Here we are receiving emails, which we're not required to kind of discuss this, but we felt it was important that we got these questions, the amount of questions, which quite frankly, they have been answered in previous meetings that we have been talking about, because we've asked sort of the same questions too, but they have been answered. So, but I encourage you all to reach out to staff, reach out to council. We are, it's about education. I think we'll talk about this in a little while, that we are going to each HOA and hopefully having a Q&A for each HOA. We're setting aside for them to come together, ask those questions to us. And it's the best way is, when you're going to make a decision or you're going to vote on something, you sure should be informed on it the right way.
So I'm going to take a minute to back up before I read these answers. Wayne and I have been making a valiant effort in trying to reach out to the different HOAs or neighborhoods that may not have an established HOA, trying to set up time to either come to them or have them come here to Village Hall in order to kind of do PowerPoint presentation Q&A for the bond, for the 2 GO bonds. So we do have quite a few scheduled. We're waiting on a few to confirm with some dates. But if you are in a neighborhood and you haven't heard anything about this, please call me, since I'm the one that's scheduling this, and I can tell you if your neighborhood has been contacted or scheduled, because all of them have been contacted, whether it's been a phone call, an email, or a text message. I have not gotten quite a few responses from some large neighborhoods that we'd like to meet with. So if you can, call me, and I'm going to say my phone number, 704-208-7119. Call me or text me, and I am happy to try to schedule, if it's not already scheduled, or if it is scheduled, tell you when it is.
Kimberly, one clarification.
Yep.
In inviting the HOA boards, are you specifically just inviting the board
Not the
or
board.
interested residents?
It is the entire neighborhood. I do not want just the board. I want every single resident.
You want the boards to pick a date and
I
send
want
that
the
data
boards
to
to
their
pick a
residents
date
as well?
that we can either come to them, or they can come here to Village Hall. We will have it here. We're happy to host.
Will it be a meeting that needs to be called if we have more than?
We're going to try to keep it to 3 council members.
Okay.
And we're going to go over that schedule here shortly, and we are going to pick the dates that you want.
We want a date and we want a time.
Yep.
I think the importance of that, because that's a good question, John, I think the importance of that is, we are going to be as transparent as we can possibly be. I say that wrong. We are going to be transparent on this from top to bottom. We don't want to give it just to the boards, because you may have board members that go, I don't want it, and then they're going to tell their neighborhood that it's not a good thing. But if we have enough people there, the volume of people that we have when we're talking to the masses, and we're not talking to the few who can manipulate it, who can turn it into propaganda, who can slant it and be biased on it. I'd rather have every single person that can vote on it to be at one of these meetings, because that way they have the opportunity to ask the question, and they're not asking the question of someone their neighbor who doesn't want it. Because I do know there are people out there, if you don't want it, you're not going to tell the positive. You'll never tell the positives.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
So we are going to be as transparent, I don't want to say as we can possibly be, because some people read into that because it's political.
Some HOA boards refuse to send out emails to the community because they do not want to be seen as positive towards the bonds. So therefore, we've had to go out ourselves to each individual home, send an email, which Kim and I did, to some communities.
Just a quick note, we got a notice to come into us that not everyone is speaking clearly, and there are people that are listening that can't hear all the council members, so come up to as close as you can to your mic. We're trying to do the best. We apologize if you aren't getting all the information, but we did hear you on that.
So we are going to go over that schedule here shortly of neighborhoods that I do have confirmed, and we're going to pick who's going to be there, and we are going to talk about that coming up here in a little bit. But again, if you are listening and you do not know if your neighborhood has a time scheduled yet, please call me. I'm happy to tell you, and if it hasn't been scheduled, then you can help me figure out who I need to talk to in order to get it scheduled. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go through some of these questions and try to answer them. So can we structure the referendum to vote project by project? At this point, we cannot segment for two reasons. The ballot questions have already been formulated and sent to the LGC, which is the league, and the pre-application meeting has already transpired. All legal documents have been prepared based on how they are presented tonight. And two, the ballot questions in their final format are due to the Board of Elections this week. So there's no time for changes, publications, legal notices, and/or council approval. If the bond referendums do not pass this go-around, this is something that we can consider for future referendums. I do think what Jamie said is it's going to be very difficult because it's going to be, you're not going to get the type of flexibility. So keep in mind, each project will have that cost associated with the bond issuance. So each bond has an issuance cost to it, so it will make each project cost more. And we'll just have less flexibility in the future. The village has 7 years to start issuing the bonds. This can, and a lot can happen in those 7 years that could restrict or eliminate the ability to fund necessary projects. For example, Joe Carr and Marvin School Road intersection has been identified as a critical intersection to compete with state and federal funding, much like the Waxhaw Marvin Bonds Grove intersection. If either of these projects were funded by a federal grant, then the village would not be able to reallocate those funds to another necessary road infrastructure project. So when you lump projects together into a common category, i.e. roads, it allows greater flexibility and opportunities for other funding. Why not ask the residents a question like this? So mostly it's stated, and I would kind of answer that, different flexibility, the ballot formulation, legal notices, publications. Number 3, can you guarantee that the bond will only be spent on exact projections voted on, or will money be moved around as you see fit that come up, like land to buy? The NCGS dictates what bond proceeds can be spent on. Each city may borrow money and issue its bond under this article and evidence thereof for the purpose of paying any capital cost of any one or more of the following: providing parks and recreation facilities, with that including without limitation land, athletic fields, parks, playgrounds, recreation centers, shelters, stadiums, arenas, permanent and temporary stands, golf courses, swimming pools, wading pools, marinas, and lighting. Providing streets and sidewalks, including without limitation bridges, viaducts, causeways, overpasses, underpasses, and alleys, paving, grading, resurfacing, and widening streets, sidewalks, curb and gutters, culverts and drains, traffic control, signals, markers, lighting, and grade crossings, and elimination thereof and grade separation. So as long as the bond proceeds are used in those categories respectively, projects may shift based on several factors, which could include citizen surveys, desires, obtainment grant funding, shift in boards, and future board priorities. This council is committed to the projects listed and advertised in educational components. However, we cannot bind future boards, and some projects may not be completed for many years. How does it work if the bond in How does it work if the bond in its current form is approved? I keep hearing we may not spend all the money, and if that's the case, how are our taxes be affected? The answer to that is only money needed to carry out projects allowed within the scope of the bond orders will be used. If interest rates are lower than expected or certain projects are deemed no longer necessary or other funding is obtained, like grant funding, the intent of the current board would be to only borrow what is necessary, and therefore tax implications would be reduced. Therefore, again, we cannot bind future boards. So those are the answers to the questions. But again, I think our answers are a little more like, let's talk about it answers. So I hope that helps, and if there is anybody else that might have questions or comments or anything.
While our bond counsel is standing by, did y'all want them to answer any questions or?
No?
Okay.
The only thing I'll say is, we are very understanding about how important this would be for our community, in the sense that we're specifically targeting the March primaries, because we believe that would have been, we could have done it this past election, but we know historically that we don't get many people to show up for that. We believe in the March primaries we'll have a majority of people. And what I think is great about this, it's not this council that's saying yes or no to this bond. It is the community. It's either yes or no vote, to Jamie's point, and that's why it's imperative that you get fully educated on what are the pros, cons, and we've learned that over the past number of months in looking over this, what our concerns for, and that's, I think we've had good people in the supporting areas, whether it is our staff or the people that are online with us now. And that's all we can do, is provide that vehicle and how we're going to get there. And if they say no to it, then it's that process of getting all the things, the wish list that you want, just ends up extending for quite some time.
Well, to that point, and again, without getting into a lot of the details, we do know that if this says no, to think we're just going to stay at 6 cents and nothing else is going to get done is not going to happen. There are obligations that we have that we didn't sign, this council didn't sign up for, and the next 4 councils did not sign up for. But they're going to have to address these, and that tax rate is going to be an issue that they're going to have to address down the road. I would rather address it in a bundle where I know I get cost efficiencies and I know that things are going to get done, and because we have to do this through the North Carolina General Assembly. So the public should understand that we are given guardrails that we have to stay within. This isn't something like we get a bunch of money and we go, okay, we're going to do whatever projects we want to do. We've outlined these, so when you look at the brochure, you look at this and you say, okay, I see some bullet points here, but when we start to get into the presentations, you're going to see the amount of detail that we have spent hours, countless hours, putting all of the details behind these bullet points. Yeah. There's so much work that has gone in behind these bullet points.
One thing that I would add, coming from the PRG board, is that I think at least the projects under the PRG, they're not necessarily pet projects of anyone on council. They're vetted projects that have been talked over for a number of years. The question was always how we would be able to fund them. And in some cases, we had funding for them, but the council did a pretty good job in resetting priorities for things like the village hall here. There were monies that were dedicated to some of those things that needed to be moved to other areas. So I think that's also reflective of at least the current council having already proven that they're able to prioritize how they're spending the money. And that's why I feel pretty comfortable with, putting it to the public, making sure these are still the things that they want. But they are projects that have been fully vetted in many cases for a number of years.
Great point. Thanks, John. Any other comments, questions for those that are online?
Nobody from online can talk, but that's okay. Okay.
No, our staff.
No, I'm good. I don't think we have any questions for them. So I'm going to make a motion.
Joe does need to formally declare the hearing closed.
Yeah,
You don't need a motion, you just have to state it.
Just state it.
Okay, I'll declare that the Public hearing is now closed. All those in,
No? No?
okay, now
Okay.
you can.
So I'm going to make a motion that the village council adopt without change or amendment and direct the village clerk to publish a notice of adoption as prescribed by the Local Government Bond Act of the bond orders entitled Bond Order Authorizing the Issuance of $15,350,000 of General Obligation Transportation Bonds of the Village of Marvin, North Carolina, and Bond Order Authorizing the Issuance of $5 million of General Obligation Parks and Recreation Bonds of the Village of North Carolina, Village of Marvin of North Carolina, sorry, as introduced at the meeting of the Village Council held on November 14th, 2023.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next up, unfinished business. We have discussion of 2024 Coffee with Council events, January through March.
John, your first coffee with council dates.
Don't be offended if no one shows up. Yeah.
Mayor, I believe we've got a resolution.
Uh-oh. What happened?
What?
What'd we do? What'd we do wrong?
I'm just looking through the agenda packet. There's also a resolution setting the,
Oh, do you want us to do that too?
yeah, let's go ahead and adopt the
Okay, do the
resolution.
resolution. I forgot to put that in as a motion.
Jeez. Okay, so you want us to do that one too?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to approve the resolution setting a special bond referendum and directing the publication of notice of a special bond referendum and notification of the Board of Elections.
Further discussion? All of those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. What? Okay. All right, moving on.
Now coffee of council.
Woohoo, now coffee with council dates.
Yeah, coffee with council dates.
First up is Thursday, January 4th, 10 to 11 a.m.
Count me in.
Bob?
Don't everybody jump at the chance to go with
I'm
Bob.
trying to get to my calendar.
I
Give me a
will
second.
do it with Bob.
Andy?
Andy's doing it?
Andy?
What day is that?
January 4th.
All right,
January
next
4th.
up is Tuesday, January 23rd, 6 to 7 p.m. Wayne?
I got it with him.
Jamie?
We have
Woo.
a planning board meeting, right?
No.
That's the recess planning board?
23rd, hold on, time out.
Even if planning board is in the chamber.
Oh, we could, yeah, we'll still be, we're not going to have them. If we do, we'll go back to the community room.
Next up, Thursday, February 1st, 10 to 11 a.m. John?
I'll do it, John.
And Joe? Next Tuesday, February 27th, 6 to 7 p.m.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it
Don't be
with
so
him.
excited.
See, everybody's jumping at the chance.
And Jamie, okay.
Kim and Jamie.
All right.
What time are the Thursday ones?
Thursday, March.
10.
Thursday, March 7th, 10 to 11 a.m.
Count me in.
Bob
7. Oh, Wayne.
and Wayne. All right,
Wayno.
lastly, Tuesday, March 26th, 6 to 7 p.m.
I'll do it.
Andy and John.
All right, I've got something on my calendar that says community engagement at 10 a.m. Does anybody know what that is?
When?
On the 26th.
Of March?
Yeah.
See, that morning, you all have your joint meeting with the PRG.
At 9
board.
o'clock.
And
Do we have the
The
training?
community, it's training. Thank you. I was like, what is that? Okay.
What is that?
It's community engagement training at 10. We've got our joint PRG meeting.
What day is that?
The 26th of March. Yeah, see, you got it on there.
So you all will get calendar invites from me for these coffee with councils, specifying who's staffing them. If something comes up and you need to swap with someone, just let me know.
Austin, for the next Coffee with Council Day, April 4th, that is in the middle of spring break, so we may want to shift it to the next week.
We can do that. Let's see, the following week is.
It's the 11th,
Is the 11th?
yeah.
I'm not
Just-
aware of any conflict there, but we can move it.
Okay, just so you know, so when you come to that,
Already changed it on
Yep.
here, we're good.
cool. Cool.
All right,
Thank you.
we're now 3 months. COVID funds, next up, COVID funds expenditure update and spending plan review.
Hello, friends.
She's way too
You
excited.
got some money?
Well, yes, actually. Okay, so Christina just asked me to give you guys an update on where we are with our COVID funds. For those listening at home or who don't know, the village a couple of years ago received just under 1.1 million in COVID relief funds through the American Rescue Plan Act, which we call ARPA. Bless you. So this is just sort of a summary for you of what we have spent over the 21 to 22 fiscal year, the 22 to 23 fiscal year, what we've spent so far year to date this fiscal year, and then it shows you kind of how much is left. And then because we made the decision to pay for the playground out of the park master plan, the grant that we got from the state, the $500,000 grant, that freed up about $300,000 that of this ARPA money that we were originally going to use to pay for the playground. So Christina and I have had to sit down and come up with a new plan for where we're going to allocate those funds and what expenses we're going to put it towards and start encumbering that. So we haven't quite encumbered all of it, but we have encumbered quite a bit of it. There's about $75,000 that is still left that we have yet to encumber. But just wanted to kind of show you how we're breaking it down. Just as a reminder, we have until 12/31 of fiscal year 26 to spend every last dollar. So you'll see for the last column under encumbrances, it's not the full fiscal year, 26 to 27, it's basically just the first 2 quarters. Some of the fiscal year 23 to 24 we've already spent, but this is sort of a detailed breakdown of what we've encumbered and where it's going, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
Hearing no questions.
Hearing no questions.
I'm looking for a question.
You didn't prep and look at this before?
I know I did, but I'm just trying to.
So
look
just to give you an idea, mostly the category that we have left to play with is administration/facilities. It's a pretty broad category, so it gives us quite a bit of room to work with to figure out where we're gonna allocate this. You'll see that we're mostly allocating it to kind of some one-off expenses and or technology. So we've got eScribe and Tyler Technologies covered for the next 2.5 fiscal years. We've got some training. We had some new Apple products, just things that came up with the addition of a new councilman and other AV needs. And we were able to pay for the new truck, the addition to the fleet, out of the ARPA funds as well, instead of having to pull it from our current budget. So we're excited about that.
Go ahead.
I'll mention to you while you're thinking of your questions, I do have an item scheduled for the work session to talk about the remaining $75,000, what ideas that you have. So you have a month to think about what ideas you may want to use these funds for.
And is it not prudent to
Here we go.
think about this, is that we're spending it on temporary things, such as an officer to direct traffic, using funds, because that's going to eventually go away when they get the roundabout in, correct? And ARPA
Correct.
funds are never going to come back again. It's not like they're going to refill that tank. That's
Correct.
what I would just caution, that we're not putting it into, anything we put a shovel to, you put a budget to, quite frankly. So I wouldn't want to see it go to that, but for officers, for that, I would encourage council to focus on those kind of things if there are.
There definitely are a few things on here that will be ongoing expenses from year to year, like Tyler Technologies and eScribe. Those are very unlikely to go anywhere. But we are buying ourselves a few fiscal years until we have to absorb that into our regular budget. But to your point, like when I was first kind of learning about this and talking about it with Christina, I remember saying, well, why can't we just use it to add a new staff member? This was back when we were trying to figure out how we were going to take on more staff. And Christina was wise enough to say, I really don't want to allocate it or spend it on anything that's going to be an expense in perpetuity. Like, because this money it's not infinite. You know, it's going to run out. So to your point, Mayor, we are trying to focus on either large expenses that come up, capital needs, equipment, things that are going to be sort of one-off kind of purchases, and very much limiting long-term commitments or yearly costs if we can, because it is a fixed pot. You're right. All right, well, you have a month, maybe a month? 25th. You have till the 25th to tell me what you want to do with the $75,000.
All right, any other
Thank
questions
you.
from council? Thank you, Jill. All right. Up. Get back to my screen. Next up, we have final review of Geo Bond educational materials, flyer and postcard. Who's taking that?
That is me. We added this item on. This is really your last chance to make any changes to the flyer and postcard. They're really the same content, just arranged differently. We are going to proceed with our full run of the flyer and begin the process for ordering and having the postcards mailed. So whatever changes you would like, I do need them tonight.
I would like to add on here, Parks and Recreation, I would like to add pickleball courts.
Okay, we can do that. Any other changes?
When we say covered seating in Parks and Rec, on the Park Rec bond, can you explain that?
So if you look at the diagram the concept drawing for the park and amphitheater, that shows covered seating along the multi-purpose lawn, that's what that's referring to.
On the page that has how will this impact my taxes, I like the coffee cup. I think it does, it's mathematical. One thing you do need to remember, though, you're supposed to only provide information, and you need to look at that and think, is that more argumentative or supporting one way or the other?
I'll mention our bond counsel had the same concern as well. The bond counsel wanted to essentially remove that item. We, in turn, had the same conversation that it was arguably factual statement. So
We did rework the language when we were reviewing with them somewhat. That's up to you guys.
Well, those are separate and distinct too, because I haven't spoken with bond counsel, but it is, make sure that language, we don't want anything to appear that it's argumentative in support of one way or the other.
It does sound pretty factual.
Where's it now? Not a good time to start drinking coffee, I guess.
So are you not okay with that, Chaplain?
If I had my druthers, I'd remove it. Just to,
What our bond counsel say?
and we can always go into
I don't like your
executive
answer.
session if you would like to really explore this. So I don't know
Okay.
that I want to get in too much detail publicly.
Okay. You want to recess into closed session and do that now then?
Yeah. You do have the right to do that without amending your agenda, just FYI.
Okay, so you want a motion to do that? Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to move into closed session pursuant to NCGS, let's see if I can come up with it, NCGS 14331.811.
143-318.11.
A,
A.
to consult with the attorney.
A3.
A3, to consult with the attorney to something with the public body. To receive legal advice. Okay?
I'm good with it.
All's in favor?
Aye. All right, off to the closed session room.
which has changed.
It's the community room. I know.
Okay, can I take this laptop? I'm trying to think about if I can leave the room with it. I should be able to.
Maybe a potty break too.
I don't want to share my, I can't share my screen. It's in the V drive on the floor.
I swear, that's the only reason you show up for meetings.
That's right. That's why I'm going to the thing.
Okay, so,
So moving forward on,
yeah, so looking at this as a whole, I think it looks good. Everything's factual on here. The coffee cup, I think we're good there. So Austin, do you want just add the pickleball courts to it? Do you want a motion for this, or you good? Okay. So with that being said, let's move on to our next schedule that has to do with the bonds. So again, Wayne and I have spent a lot of time trying to contact these HOAs or neighborhoods that don't have HOAs. So I'm going to kind of go down the list. If you're listening and you hear your neighborhood and you want to reach out to me, again, please do. Currently, we have, I'm going to go down the calendar first. That's what I'm going to do. So currently, we have Meadowlark scheduled for here at Village Hall on Thursday, January the 4th at 6:30. Who would like to be here? Everybody pull out your calendars. We're going to go through this and nail this down right now.
I'd like to be at all of them, so you tell me which ones you need for me to be at.
I mean, it's really who's available.
I'll do the first one.
Okay.
I'll make myself available. What day?
Thursday, January the 4th at 6:30 at Village Hall. Where's Tyler? Okay, we need to make a note that Village Hall needs to be blocked off for these days. Okay, Jamie, Joe, I'll do it.
Jamie, Joe, and Kim.
Now,
That was a 6 o'clock?
6:30. Again, with that being said, we all need to be very well versed with the PowerPoint presentation that we are going to have. So I'm going to have somebody else look at it who does bonds for a living and see if they can give us any suggestions before the 4th. So I would say maybe the three of us need to get together to kind of do talking points. Austin, can we have three? Is it just three regardless?
You can have 3 council members. You cannot have 3 in the mayor.
Okay, so 3, period.
3, period.
Got it, okay.
Would you say it's advisable for council people to be at the ones that their individual personal subdivision might be, or
I
the
would.
other way?
Absolutely. If you know people
Okay.
there, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we'll talk like maybe on the 3rd and get together and go over that. Okay, the next one that I have scheduled is on the 15th at 7 o'clock here at Village Hall, and it's Robinwood. Now, I would also like staff here, somebody from staff here who knows what's going on. So I'm going to let you guys figure that out amongst yourselves. 7 o'clock.
What day?
The 15th. Everybody listen. The 15th, Monday, at 7 o'clock.
That is Martin Luther King.
It is.
Did you skip over the 11th, which is what I think you told me for?
I did, but I don't have it confirmed yet. Are you good that date? Is your neighborhood good
I
then?
know Providence Estates
Okay,
is, yeah.
okay, sorry, I did not know that. Here at Village Hall at 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to the 11th, Providence Estates. I also invited Winmore that same day, so hopefully they'll come. But we've got Providence Estates, 6:30, Village Hall. John, I'm assuming you want to be here for that?
Yeah, I'll be available.
The 11th, January the 11th. It's a new edition, Christina.
So this is
It's
both,
not going to be on your calendar right now.
this is both Windmore and Providence Estates.
Yes.
We've invited Winmore. I'm waiting on a confirmation from him. He just sent me a text.
What time? 6?
6:30. I'm trying to do them all at 6:30, except Robin Woods at 7, but 6:30.
I'll be there for that one.
For John's? Okay. Andy
Be there too.
and Wayne? Okay.
Can I be in attendance?
No.
You can, but you cannot talk. It's like when you guys had your forum here,
I would caution against
I
that.
just wouldn't do it.
Okay.
I would not.
Got it. Don't need to do it. Nope.
Okay. So I've got John, Andy, and Wayne, Providence Estates and Winmore on the 11th, 6:30 Village Hall. Okay. Thank you, John, for confirming that. I did not know that. Okay, so the 15th, back to Robinwood, 7 p.m., Village Hall.
That is MLK. We are closed that day, so staff is not on site.
Okay. well, this is when they wanted to do it, so I said, pick a day.
And it has to be here.
Yeah, but I mean, we all have keys.
Okay.
Okay, Jamie? Who else?
What day again?
The 15th. I can't do it that day
Of January?
of January,
Bob,
That's
I
a
think you're
Monday
out of
night.
town, right?
What time? 6:30?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock? I'll
Okay.
do that.
Wayne and John, okay? Okay, next, confirmed the 22nd, 6:30 Village Hall is Belgrove. Okay, Jamie? I can't do that one.
I'll be there.
Bob?
What day of the week's the 22nd? That's Monday. Okay.
Okay, Andy? Okay, good. All right, next up is,
Sorry.
I'm sorry? Belgrove, the 22nd, 6:30.
And who is the people? I'm taking names.
Andy,
Jamie, Bob, and Andy.
Jamie, Bob, and Andy. Thank you.
Next up is the 24th. It is going to be Bridal Path in Wyndham Hall, 6:30 here. I'll do it.
24th,
The 24th.
I can make that.
Joe, one more.
And who's it with?
Jamie, Bridal Path in Wyndham Hall. Next up is Thursday, the 25th. It is Amber Meadows, Tullamore, and Canterfield Creek. Wayno. Okay? Jamie? I'll do that one. 25th. I'll do that one. All right. Tentatively, we do not have this confirmed, but we have been told tentatively the 29th at Marvin Creek Clubhouse. We don't know what time yet, but that will be at the Marvin Creek Clubhouse, which is good because Village Hall is already booked that day. That's with Marvin Creek.
And it's not big enough here to have
No, if they all show up.
370 houses. I'll do it.
Okay, I cannot do that day. Jamie?
What time?
Don't know yet.
They
Just, they haven't gotten back to us yet.
I'm gonna put 6:30.
Okay,
So who's going to be there? Sorry,
Jamie?
Jamie.
I can't do it that night.
What night is it?
Monday, the 29th.
Oh, okay. Mondays are not good for me. Oh, I gotta talk with the ninth graders.
Yeah, you can't do it that night anyway.
See, I have.
I'll be there.
Okay, Bob? Okay, Wayne? Okay, Tuesday, the 30th, Ennisbrook, 6:30 Village Hall.
Which day? Sorry.
I will do it, huh?
Which day are you on?
Hold on, what, Austin?
Which day are you on? Sorry.
The 30th of January, 6:30 here at Village Hall with Ennisbrook.
I got it.
Me, Jamie,
I can do it again if no one else wants to. Who is it? Which group?
Ennisbrook. It's my neighborhood. You want to do it, Joey?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that is all we have tentatively done. We have reached out to Beechwood with no response. We have reached out to Courtyards of Marvin and are awaiting a response. We have reached out to Firethorn and are awaiting a response. We have reached out to Heritage Oaks and are awaiting a response. We have reached out to Marvin Estates and are awaiting a response. We have reached out to Oakbrook and are waiting a response. We have reached out to Providence Glen and are awaiting a response. We have reached out to the Preserve and are waiting a response. Thurl Farms, no response. Valhalla, no response. Weddington Chase, no response. Willow Creek, no response. Woodland Forest, no response. So if anybody's listening, or you have friends in these neighborhoods, we would love to schedule something. So please, 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 call us to schedule something. And,
I'll reach out to Valhalla
okay,
if they.
That would be great.
See if they want to do it with us.
Reach out to
That-
Weddington Chase.
yeah, please do, because we've sent Tom Becker a couple of messages.
And hopefully we can we can dovetail on some of these other ones that are already in place.
Yeah, I mean, some of them, Firethorn's trying to figure out a date. They absolutely want to do it. They're just trying to figure out, they wanted to do it at Firethorn, but the upstairs is going to be closed, so they're trying to figure out the logistics there. They had originally said the 8th of January, which is a Monday, but the club's closed, so I'm not sure. They're still trying to work that out, so.
When Firethorn does, I'll do theirs.
Okay. And then we also gave them the 17th as an option. A lot of these, like Meadowlark, we could get a smaller neighborhood in with them. But a lot of Robinwood, we could get another smaller neighborhood with them. Belgrove, we could. A lot of these we have doubled up. Innisbrook, we could probably get another one in there. So if anybody knows people in any of these neighborhoods that I just said, please reach out to them and tell them. And Wayne and I are going to keep working on it too. Right, Wayne?
Phone a phone?
Phone a phone? Okay. So make sure you put this in your calendar because we cannot be not showing up for these. And my suggestion would be, can we do maybe just can we do like an impromptu work session on maybe Wednesday the 3rd and go over the PowerPoint presentation?
You said when?
Wednesday the 3rd.
I won't be here. I'll be on vacation.
I don't need you.
Just letting you know.
I don't need you. I know how to work this.
The only one that'll be tricky will be probably at Marvin Creek, depending upon
Yeah.
audiovisual stuff.
Yeah.
When you say impromptu work session, do you mean a quorum of the council and a
Yes.
formal meeting?
I mean, let's schedule a meeting so that let's have a special meeting so that we can go over the PowerPoint and make sure that everybody knows what their talking points are, factually wise. You're not going to be here, it doesn't matter. Yeah, what's the problem?
No, there's no problem.
I will, okay. Can everybody do the 3rd?
Yes.
Like, in the morning?
Yeah.
January 3rd in the morning.
I mean, if you can't do it, you tell me, Andy. I'll work around your schedule. You're right, I won't. I know, I would. Of course I would. Of course I would.
What time on the 3rd?
I don't know. What time do you guys want to do? 10?
You said morning.
Morning, 10?
Yeah, that's fine.
10? Okay, 10 o'clock. We're coming in.
Is it better if we went earlier, Andy?
8:30? 9 o'clock?
It's a what day?
7:45? Wednesday?
Wednesday. I can go earlier on a Wednesday,
I'm just thinking work-wise, if you had stuff going on.
I always have stuff going.
Okay, what
No,
time
we
would
all
be
do.
better for you?
9 would be better.
Okay, let's do 9. 9 o'clock.
That would be better.
Perfect.
Do somebody need to wake Joe up?
Yeah. No. He's up then. It's his nap time in the afternoon that you got to get him up.
Yeah, I already did my nap time. I'm good. No, I'm adding where I'm going to be. January 3rd at 10 o'clock. I'm just changing that as we go here.
At 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, see?
That's why I said.
Sleepy Joe.
I'll probably be running late.
All right, I've got in here special meeting GO bond prep, 9 o'clock on January the 3rd. Good? Okay, cool.
Will you send that to us, Austin? Just because I got nervous, I didn't get enough chance to type that in. I want to make sure I'm that, I'll get a call. Where are you? All right,
Wait, did you said February 3rd?
January the 3rd.
January 3rd. I thought you said February. I'm sorry.
Why, you on vacation still?
I'm on vacation February 3rd.
Are you
Oh,
on
so you will
vacation
be
January
there.
3rd?
Not January, February. I thought you said
He's
February.
gonna be there.
My bad.
He was just mad. He didn't want to schedule it because didn't think he was going to be able to be here, hang out with
He wants
us.
to
No, I was actually thinking about having trained people on AV.
I know how to do it.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm
I
going
don't
to
know
go with
why.
you.
I know how to do it.
My mistake. I misheard you.
All right, moving on?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. Next up, new business.
No, sorry, old business, number 4, Pocket Park update.
Oh, that's right, it's not on here, sorry. Pocket Park
Come on
update.
down, baby. This stupid Pocket Park. Oh.
He jogged up.
I know, he's like, oh, can go home now.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so during the December 5th Parks, Recreation, and Greenways Board meeting, Staff provided board members with the projected cost to mulch the Publix Pocket Park. It's basically the same information that was provided to you during last month's meeting. The PRNG board discussed some potential options for the park. One of those options consisted of, in order to try to lower the cost of the mulching, maybe have the village request free wood grindings or chippings from local tree companies. Sign up. I think there's an opportunity out there. You can sign up to get those, and someone would deliver them to the site. In those discussions, some of the concern regarding that was maybe the quality of the grindings or chippings that would be delivered to the site. It may not meet, the expectations.
Stuff.
Yes, sir.
I think we found in our great topsoil here.
Yes, sir.
Cans and God knows what.
So that was one of the options. Another option that was discussed was maybe the potential of constructing pickleball courts or tennis courts and combination tennis courts and pickleball courts at this site as well. And ironically, during the public comment period for that meeting, we had a resident come in and actually speak on that and provided support for pickleball courts in Marvin. So that was, I can turn it over to Kim if she'd like to speak further on the pickleball court kind of ideas.
Thank you. So Hunter and I have been tossing this around for a couple of months that pickleball is very popular and people want it, and there's really no place in Marvin to play, and there's not going to be come January 1 at Innisbrook anymore. So I think that this would be a great place for pickleball courts. And I think we can use some of the GO bond money for it. They're not inexpensive, but I know that there's multiple sites online that can actually manage a calendar. So I think, for Marvin residents, you put in a code, you can rent it for free. If you're not a Marvin resident, you can rent it, but you're gonna have to pay for it. So it would be like a revenue generating opportunity for us. Definitely more research needs to be done, but I think that this is a great use for that space, because otherwise it's just, we have gone round and round and round and round with that pocket park, and I am tired of talking about it, but I do think that pickleball courts could be a really good option there.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, and I would say we really have struggled on PRG to figure out what to do with that limited area. There's a decent little bit of parking there and so forth, but it is right off the highway.
Yep.
And even beyond the gentleman that came and spoke at public comment, I actually had a request. Somebody used to serve on the PRG board, Christy Maher. She's one of the closest houses to it, and someone you might say, well, no, we don't want that. But they have more concerns of it just being a hangout place again, where neighborhoods go to, kids could just go.
All the time.
And
even at the election day, I had residents asking us to build tennis courts, and I was like, oh dear, what? But you build the tennis courts, you overlay it with the pickleball court, so people could either do tennis or pickleball. And again, I think it is filling a need that we are hearing more and more from our residents that they want. And it could also be a revenue generator. Do I think it's going to, pay for itself over a year? No, but I guarantee it will make some money.
And at least maintenance money.
Maintenance money. So, I would like for us, bless you, to look into it, find out really what the cost is, how many can go, like, if we're doing tennis courts, how many can go there, how many pickleball courts can fit on a tennis court, or, whatever the configuration is, and see kind of what that would look like and really what the cost of that would look like.
How many have you got at Innisbrook?
I think we only have
Well,
two.
they basically,
'Cause it looks-
reline the tennis courts, and it fits within inside the tennis court, so you
Yeah,
only
I
get.
think we have 2 tennis courts and we only have 2 pickleball courts on each one. But I think if you spread
Well,
it out, you could do pickleball, I don't know.
I would say this, basically, and if we have what, a little over an acre there?
Yeah.
It's probably about the same size as why I'm asking. It's probably about the same size space as they have
Well,
in Innisbrook.
I will
So
tell you this, on a
What-
personal
Hun-
note,
Hunter and I measured it. What did we measure?
I think you get I think Innisbrook's tennis courts were like a quarter of an acre, and the parking was like a fifth of an acre.
Yeah, so you
we
could
already
really
have the
probably do
parking
4
there.
courts.
You could do 4.
could easily do 4 courts, and the reason I know that is because I personally am putting in a sport court, and that sport court is for a pickleball court at an Airbnb that
In
I
your
have.
backyard?
At the Airbnb. But it's 30 by 50 feet. They pour concrete, and then they put the court down on top. It's an actual sport court, which could be cheaper than actually doing what we know is, because courts require maintenance over time and stuff. Sport court, you may get more life out of something like that and assembling that. And it wasn't that expensive. I mean, my quote was like $22,000.
Oh, so the gentleman that came in said that I don't know if he quoted it or he got a quote or he saw that 2 tennis courts would be around $125,000. So maybe that's with all the
And
fencing.
they may need to
and-
be built differently, yeah.
Right,
and there would definitely have to be fencing being right on
Yes.
16. Got to have,
Well, yeah, the whole thing would be fenced in, but
And to
within that
control
fence
access.
yeah.
yeah.
So we'll get some more information and come back at the work session with more quotes.
Christina's like, let's go, let's quit talking about it.
We'll
I
go do
like
some
the
research.
idea. I think we're all on board with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great use of,
I think so too.
best use of land.
Yep, highest and
That's
best.
Highest and best use of land. It's
Okay.
a real estate term.
If I may, can I take just a moment to share some good news?
Oh, I love good news.
All right. So,
Christina says it's okay.
I would like to take this moment to recognize Marsh for their recent achievement. So for the folks listening, if you're not aware what Marsh is, Marsh stands for Marvin Area for the Restoration and Sustainability of Wildlife Habitat. They're an organization affiliated with the Village of Marvin that seeks to educate and engage our community about the importance and benefits of restoring, protecting, and conserving our wildlife and natural habitat. They were recognized in the fall edition of the North Carolina Wildlife Federation Journal as a 2023 Governor's Conservation Achievement Award winner. They were selected as the North Carolina Wildlife Federation Chapter of the Year. That's
job,
very
Marsh.
impressive
That is.
considering they were just established in 2019, so they have come a long way in just a few years or so.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to congratulate them on their impressive work, and if
Get
anyone would like to find out more about the Marsh organization, they can visit the Village of Marvin website at www.marvinnc.gov.
I'd like to know why there's a mountain goat on the statue, on the award, though. Do we have mountain goats in North Carolina?
That's a
We
very
talked-
good
we talked-
question.
we
I'm not
talked
sure.
about this at,
Probably.
oh my God, you're,
The greatest of all time.
oh,
A goat.
I can't even with you. Okay. Thank you, Davy.
No goats.
Good night, David.
Thank you. Hey,
That works.
all right. Can I move on now?
Yep.
Why isn't? It's not allowing me, isn't it?
See what happens back here when he's trying to maneuver through this screen. It was wild.
We're moving on to new business, correct? All right.
The answer to your question is no, Kim. There are no mountain
Next up
goats.
on new business, consider acceptance of Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant for $1 million Village Hall Park project with a 50/50 match requirement. Who's got
So that would be me. As you all were recently made aware, we did receive the 23 award for the Part F. It's a $1 million grant with a 50% match, so it's basically $500,000. Inside of your agenda packet is the contract itself. I would just like to take a second, if you don't mind, to just let you know, at current, I am responsible for managing the grant administration for basically all the grants that we have, minus the CRTPO. This is one project file for one grant that we're discussing today. Each grant basically has manuals that are about this thick that you have to memorize and know every single little caveat to all these specific rules. Currently, I have 9 of them under my belt, which is a lot for one person. So I just wanted to kind of mention to you all that the more we grow, the more grants we have. This is probably going to be a problem because 9 grants for one person to manage is just a lot. It really is. We're currently doing something with the league right now where they've got this free money with ARPA to use some free services, one of those being a grant funding kind of seeking opportunity. We've since had a meeting with them about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they've identified a couple of more grants that we may be eligible to receive. They can help us through the process, but I just wanted to, I would be remiss to not tell you that the workload is getting a lot with all these grants in this administration. Just being able to remember every little caveat to all these different grants is a lot. For example, with this particular grant, there's a lot of things like, for example, you have to use a certain species of plants. If you're, I mean, this is just minor stuff, but you have to use a certain species. You have to do some post inspections after it's created and in place. The Part F application and the project itself, you have to have that part public for 25 years. There's just a lot of nuances to all these grants. I just wanted to take an opportunity to just mention that to you all, just so you knew kind of where we are in terms of staff workloads.
Any suggestions on how to help you?
I don't, unless at some point we start looking at a special projects personnel to do certain things like this. I know when the CRTPO grant comes into play, it's going to be a lot on Hunter's plate as well. It's already a lot right now, and we haven't even gotten started. So the more money we receive, the more kind of time it takes to manage these projects. So it's just something we need to keep in mind as a board to make sure we're kind of strategizing moving forward. I hate to turn the money down, but it is a lot of work on
So
staff.
do you want us to turn it down?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
So, well, I mean, I thought I'd ask.
Well, I would begin by saying, and this is going to tie back into, taxes, but when we think of this previous council, what we've done for the last 4 years, what we've accomplished, and staff has done a tremendous job in identifying these grants and where these funds are coming in. We've gotten in almost, if not over, $3 million to come in from where staff has reached out and what we've done to bring funds into Marvin, and it has not impacted us from a tax standpoint. So we have done, I mean, I can understand people asking questions about geo bonds and this and tax and stuff, but at some point in time, I guess it would be nice to be recognized that what we have done without raising a tax and what we've been able to accomplish and bring onto the village of Marvin as an asset, as a true, when you start looking at the final number, whatever. But we can't continue doing that unless we have the resources to do it. And that, again, I'm sure that's something we'll probably talk about in February or January at the retreat. But we have to continue to look at, because if we have a special projects coordinator or whatever the case may be, the cost of that, all right, just let's say if we went and got another $3 million from somewhere, but you paid someone $80,000 to do it, I'll take that every day. So we have to be pragmatic in our thinking of what we need to do, but a lot is on your plate. You have, but we do need to recognize that a lot of the things that we have done, even the building that we're in today was, in large part, some of the technology things that we've done is because of the things that we've done, staff has done to pull money and find money to do it where it didn't cost us anything, so.
Is this something that Polemy can help with?
We have her pretty,
Yeah, I mean,
well,
she's pretty much booked up with her current, what she's doing and what she's gonna be doing to help Hunter out.
Is she part-time?
She's part-time right now, yes.
Does she want to be full-time?
She does, but honestly, I wouldn't want to throw that big of a responsibility on someone that's just coming into an organization,
I'd
learning
like-
fresh out of school.
I'd like to know that someone has the experience of working with grants and bonds, and, because it's not the fact of just being able to work through it, it's recognizing and going out to local, Union County, county, state, federal, all the different.
So you want to get somebody who can not only manage what we have, but continue to grow what we're getting?
I would certainly want to look into that.
Okay.
I think
So,
you're not talking about one person. Because you have somebody get it and somebody manage it when you get it, right? That's not gonna be the same person.
You can make that the same person. A lot of that someone that writes a grant should have an understanding of how the scope of the work and the grant application itself and a lot of the requirements, so they should be able to administer it on the back end.
Alana help us doing some of that work?
They may, but we're still gonna have to have someone internally to make sure all the information is getting over to them, make sure we're processing it.
So one person can do that, and that would be a full-time job.
With the non-grants that we have right now, yes, but are we always gonna have non-grants? Probably not, so.
But you're always going to be looking for more.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of administration that goes, well, you can verify that. There's a lot of administration that goes onto it, because there are requirements that are in there that you have to make sure, and you can't miss them.
Yeah.
Because then they come back, the state or federal government comes back and says, well, you didn't do this. Well, we didn't do it because we didn't have the right resources to do it, and we didn't have enough time. Well, ignorance is bliss, but that's not going to work.
I'm not asking for anything tonight, I'm just letting you know that it is a concern that we should be cognizant of in the future, so.
so in essence, what we're talking about tonight is the acceptance of this grant, which essentially, it looks like the project is almost based on the $500,000 that we might be looking from in the general obligation bonds for our
Yes.
portion of it.
Correct.
And through the acceptance of this, we would essentially be doubling that to $1 million.
Yes, now if the
Yeah.
if the GEO bond doesn't pass, we would still be obligated to find that 500,000 somewhere. And if you
But we have
remember,
up to 5 years to do that, correct?
2026 is when it has to be completed. November 31st of 2026.
November what?
I see in here, it
30th,
says the
30
grantee
30
agrees.
days in November.
This says the grantee agrees to begin development on Part F acquired land within 5 years of the effective date of this agreement.
Yeah, so you have to start by 2026.
Start, and then the completion date is that, but you have to start it.
Okay.
You see the,
So you would still have time during the construction process to acquire more funds to be
well,
able to
you
do
see
it,
where
or
it
you
says
need to
period
match it?
covered by this agreement, December 1st, 2023 to November 30th, 2026? That would be the project timeline. So that's honestly not that far away.
So do you have to have all the funds when you start the project, or can you still be acquiring funds throughout the?
They're going to
long
make
as
you
you
pay
match.
for it the same way that we're doing the loop, right? They're going to take a chunk here, and they're going to take a chunk here, and they're going to take a chunk
They have to,
here.
well, we have to pay
Right?
for it, then they reimburse 50%.
Yes, that's right.
It's a
Part F
reimbursement.
Part F is a little different than what he's working with, because he's essentially working with federal funds, and these are state funds, so I still have not dived through the entire manual here. I literally just started working on this week, so I don't know for sure that it has to be expended by
Been doing.
2026, but they are a lot more strict, so it would not surprise me if 2026 is the deadline.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure from my experience with working with Part of that, it's always been conveyed to me, and my experience with those projects is that they have to basically be completed or wrapping up within the 3 years after the funds have been approved.
Okay. So with that being said, since we've been granted this, we have stopped all of our other stuff with McAdams that we were, because we had originally not gotten
Yes.
it, and then we got it, and then,
Yes.
so we have stopped.
Yes.
And we have not given them any additional funds.
Correct.
Got it.
Just out of curiosity, given that we did get this and it's through the state, is there anyone that we should be reaching out to in a sense of gratitude? I don't want to sound like a snobby resident.
Yeah,
'cause
that's a
apparently
good
we're
question.
ranked the snobbiest that we, but no, anyone we should be thanking at the state
Let
level.
me look into that, because I don't know the answer to that fully. I'll look into that.
And I don't know how these are decided, but either way, we should, you know, recognize that.
Can you reach out to your friend if you're looking to hire somebody because that he might be able, if the state line, he might know somebody that would be a good hire that has some knowledge?
Who, James? Yeah.
I mean, I think he'd be a source to find somebody that would fit that.
Yeah, and I don't think we're at that place yet, but once we get to that place, that's an opportunity. Does anybody have any questions? I didn't mean to kind of derail that whole conversation. I just wanted to, I wanted to make you guys aware, because it is a lot.
Then bring me a solution, as Joe likes to say.
I say that?
What do you want?
What is it that
Tell us what you want.
I do say that.
At a later date, she's gonna either
I
ask
know.
you for somebody.
Okay.
Because I thought it was two, but she's only gonna ask for one.
All right, anything else on that?
That's it.
Any questions?
So I need to make a motion to accept the NC Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant as proposed with a 50% match of $500,000 and approve agreement as presented and authorize manager to execute and direct staff to prepare capital project ordinance accordingly.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.
Real quick, I'll mention in Section 1, it does say that the funds have to be expended by the period covered. So it is by November of 2026, we have to have that project completed. The project scope is listed there as the rain garden, walking loop, event lawn, site furnishings, site preparation, and landscaping. They are very specific that it has to be those things. If we deviate from those items, we have to submit a request to them. They have to approve it, so.
So would it make sense to start, well, we're working on finishing up the rain garden quote, but would it make sense? We're not going to get all of that done with $1 million.
No.
No.
So we have to have all of that? It's $1 million.
So
$1 million.
inside,
There's no way we're getting all that done for $1 million. So,
there's a couple of things I noticed today. That's a good observation. And there's a couple of things I noticed today about the project cost that kind of, that I think McAdams overlooked a portion.
no, I need to figure out if we really want to accept this or not. Because if they're like, you have to have all of these things done, or is it what we can get done with the $1 million?
So I would accept it, period, because I think there's a way we can realign some of the cost. One of the thing, and I say that with caution because they have to approve it, but one of the things I would say is in our project scope, in terms of the dollar amounts, there's a couple of things that I was kind of surprised that McAdams didn't put in there, like engineering and architect design. They don't have anything in there for the cost of that, and we know just as much as anything else, like Village Hall itself, I don't remember the exact dollars, but I want to say the civil engineer was close to $75,000 for those construction plans. The architect was very similar to that, if not slightly less, so that's a good $150,000 in just plan development. And none of that was listed in the application for some reason. There's some language in here about planning documents being 20% of project costs. So I need to put in a question to our consultant that we're signed up with the grant administrator to see if we can actually use 20% of the estimated project costs for those planning documents. I don't know the answer to that question, but hopefully they'll be able to address that. And if there's anything that we want to look at the scope in more detail, we can obviously do that and then try to submit a reallocation of funding. But I can read you real quick the project cost and what components they had estimated. Site prep was $130,000. Landscaping was $111,000. Rain garden was $70,000.
Well, we already know that that number's wrong.
The walk-in loop was $82,000. Site amenities, which are swings, signage, and furnishings, were $40,000, and then the event lawn was $67,000.
There's no way you can do that for $67,000.
So that's the,
And does,
Five.
does that equal $1 million?
no, that's the 500,000. So it would be, they would pay double that.
Okay, so I guess since this has to be done and completed, then we're not waiting on the GEO bond because
That's right.
if we accept it, we have to do it. So next steps are we go out for bid for the whole project? Or are we gonna go out for bid like the rain garden and then the event lawn space and then the loop? Like what's,
With all of that having to be completed by the
Yeah,
2026.
so it's a really good question, and my first reaction to that is to do an RFQ for engineering, architect, whatever's needed on those things, and get them to site plan the entire site, and then we can go out for bid
including the rain garden?
and see what we get, and if we don't get enough bids that can encompass all of that, then we can start segmenting from there.
We're gonna need additional drainage work on the adjacent site too. If we do work over there, there's gonna have to be.
But I mean, they'll engineer that, right? I
gonna
mean,
have to be
they'll
in the-
look at
yeah,
that
but
and they'll know
That's another
that.
cost though, is what I'm saying.
That's
It's
not
not
in there.
just
Yeah.
cut down trees and plant grass. There's gonna have to be retention and all this other stuff. So there's a lot more to it than just what that described.
So if y'all want me to, I mean, this is the application right here. I'll be more than glad to sit down with you all and show you the application. Most of this is the master plan document, so most of it's not the actual application. More or less, a couple of sheets in there that y'all should be aware of, just so you understand the scope of the project and what we really have to do. And if y'all want to stray from what we said we were going to do, we need to submit that to them in a more timely manner before we get the engineer involved into designing the site plan.
I think really what we need to know is that the entire project, all the things that are listed on there, do we have to do all of it to get the grant, or just $1 million portion of it to get the grant?
Yeah, so the projects.
Couple of projects out of that and finish them up to that $1 million mark, and then anything else above that, we would
We'll work on as we
work
get
on.
additional funding.
Because this project is gonna be over $1 million for everything that's on that list. I mean, it's what, 300,000 for the rain garden, wasn't it?
No, it
something
was
like that?
130.
130,000, sorry.
So my knee-jerk response to that is that we have to do what we stated we were going to do, which is all of what I'm just telling you. So if it costs $3 million, they're only going to give us $500,000. But again, we can spend some more time diving into what exactly we specified as to what an event lawn actually means. It could just mean grass. I don't know the specifics as to what we stated in there.
Well, and I don't think that the loop around there is gonna cost $80,000 if we're going on what we've been spending on paths recently.
Our site plan,
What building material would it be? No, I don't want concrete around that.
so
Is that not natural around there?
we didn't specify, we just said a walking loop, and I need to look into the details of what that means, but
I hope it's not concrete. That needs to be like our natural
I'm
path.
pretty sure it's natural.
Okay.
And we had some covered seating, we had a few shrubs in there.
Well, and it said swings?
That's what it said in the project scope. So I'll pull these relevant sheets, we'll put them in the work session so you guys can look through it and see the detail. And if y'all want to change anything, then we can submit a change to them, but
Okay. I mean,
I
I
just-
would like to, actually, instead of doing it at the work session, can we do it at the retreat?
can you do what?
Can we do it at the retreat?
Yeah.
Because I'd rather get it done sooner than later. If we don't want to change anything, then you guys can already be working on like the RFQ or whatever the letters are to go out for bid. And then, but then if we do want to change something, then you're only going to have to change a couple of things on it.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't even think we'd have to change anything because we'll have a defined scope and we just show them what the scope is.
Okay.
So the RFQ is
Yeah, that
still,
thing, whatever
still
it
the
is.
same.
John, you've got the retreat on your calendar?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Any other questions? I mean, at the end of the day, it's great. We received the funds. I think it's a great,
Poo-pooed all over it. Just kidding. Okay,
All right.
good job. It's gonna be a lot of work. Let us know what we can do to help.
All right.
Oh, relax over there.
Next up, consider call for public hearing and discuss and consider boundary revisions to the annexation agreement with Weddington.
So moved. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, I
Like,
do.
I've been here all night for this.
The reason I didn't have this on consent, because I did want to make council aware of the intent behind this, is that we do have a annexation agreement with the town of Weddington, basically identifying a boundary of properties that are currently in Union County, that if said property were to ever or petition to annex, they either would then be or petition to annex either into Weddington or Marvin, depending on where they're at, per that agreement. In short, there's 28 acres. It's 9 different parcels there behind the storage facility and CVS and Autobell, all that stuff there at the corner of Providence and Newtown, that a developer that we have worked with prior actually is under contract with, and he actually came to me to annex, and we conveyed to him that these properties are actually in Weddington's annexation area. In short, Weddington would be okay with relinquishing that for us to annex. We would have to amend this agreement, so that's basically why it's coming to you guys, and we would be initiating it. Those properties, and in short, if we're amending the boundary, we would probably just take that whole corner, not saying that CVS or any of those properties would ever annex, but it would have that opportunity. As well as there was one property, the old the Marvin AME Church, I think was originally in our boundary, and when we renewed this agreement in 2020, it exchanged hands by accident. So for amending the boundary, we might as well get it all right. So this is just basically the first step to call for the public hearing that we will have in January. And in the meantime, staff will work with Chaplin to revise the agreement and revise the boundary. And Weddington's in the current process of doing the same thing. This agreement has to be approved by the village as well as approved by Weddington.
It has to be adopted by ordinance.
So that's just kind of the overhead, but that's why I just want to make sure council was aware why we're calling for a public hearing and what's being requested.
This is the property that was kind of a controversial proposal about a year ago or so.
I believe, yes, I believe so. In short, from the village perspective, these properties are in Union County. To have an opportunity to have a developer or, whoever it is annex in, where then we would be the zoning authority compared to the county, definitely helps with, aligns with the vision and our regulations, because as we've seen before, the county sometimes, they're regulating a county as a whole, so their regulations are a little bit more looser per se.
Especially along a corridor like Providence Road.
So either way, like I said, I think having a chance to annex in, and I did have a conversation with Karen, the administrator for Weddington, on this, and I think she said kind of the same thing, was that if a property is going to annex, or we would rather a property annex than not, I guess, to an extent. And we just have, especially with this whole UDO rewrite, we have a little bit more tools in the toolbox for that area compared to Weddington, and that's what she even said, is that she doesn't see an issue from Weddington's perspective of them amending the boundary just for that section. But yeah, I mean, even if the property doesn't annex, then in theory, yes, they would go through the county for any type of development submittal, if that's a rezoning or just approvals in general from staff.
It would also kind of clean up some of the contiguousness, because that's kind of a wonky area where they end up on southwest corner of Weddington, you know, jumping across Newtown and
Yeah,
Providence.
and I think the boundary's that way because of the, is it Roots Farm? Is that,
You're talking about,
whatever the large tract that actually does jump Newtown, but it's already part of Weddington.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why that corner was originally in Weddington's annexation area, even though it butts both, so.
Good. Okay.
Any other questions by council?
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to call for public hearing to discuss and consider boundary revisions to the annexation agreement with Weddington to be held on January 9th, 2024 at 6 PM at Village Hall.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All's opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have consider adoption of general budget ordinance for banners, generator fence, and Powell bill funds.
So that's me real quick. I just wanted, Jill's gone. I told her I'd take care of this. Just wanted to mention to you all, we've heard from the public several times that we're not getting enough advertisements out on certain sides of town. We have since been advised by council to look into putting banners in a couple of different areas across town. We've priced them out with all the events that we've got going, and I wanted to make sure you guys were aware it's going to be about $7,000 a year for these banners. We're going to try to stretch that dollar as much as we can, but I just wanted to make you aware that it is about $7,000 that we're going to be spending in banners. It's not something that we budgeted for, so we did do a fund balance appropriation for that. Aside from that, minor things that we've got to do, getting a fence around the generator. We're out of money in our Village Hall capital, so we had to pull that. We'll also have another budget amendment coming in the next couple of months for the emergency repairs that should be we should start construction on that in the next couple of days. Very minor cost, but we do have to do a budget amendment because it's not something we budgeted for. So just wanted to make you aware.
Thank you. Any questions?
Well, I'm going to make a motion to adopt the general fund budget ordinance for banners, generator fence, and Powell bill funds as presented.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, moving on, open topics.
You had one.
I did?
You said you did. Want to talk about the calendar?
Oh, yeah. That's right, calendar, which I talked to you about before, and the only thing is that I know we approved it for the year, but John wasn't included in that, so at some point, you should probably look at,
He's already sent me.
okay, and you're good with all those dates, no issues? Okay.
Don't say if you're out of town. Don't say it on live TV.
Yeah, live TV.
If you want us to change the date.
The only thing I would question, and Kim and I were talking about this today, is, and because I got a question from the band director, it's usually the second week in, this may be a question for Tyler.
December.
Second week in December, we have the tree lighting. And since Kim likes to start decorating for Christmas at Halloween,
Yes, I do.
Before
I was looking at
Yes, I do.
December 7th, which is a week earlier, getting people in the spirit. I think by far we had a great event. A lot of people attended. Having it December 7th versus the 14th, is that an issue? Is there a specific reason we have it the second week? Because now we're already into the 14th. Now we're less than 10 days before Christmas Eve.
I think when we used to consider those dates, we used to try to stay clear of Waxhaws. Now, this year, turned out it was the day after.
That was their parade, though.
Correct, but in previous years, we tried to kind of stay away from that rather than compete with it.
Now, Indian Land did a tree lighting. I noticed
Oh,
a
yeah,
sign
there was
up.
a sign at the corner.
Yeah,
on-
and that
in Marvin.
Was it the same night?
No, I don't
That was
know. I just saw a
it was around the
sign in
same
Marvin.
time.
I mean,
can't
it's
remember.
something that we can change down the road. We got
Yeah.
enough time, but again, it was a band director asking and, us trying to,
I don't have an answer on it.
no,
Why don't we put that on PRNG's next meeting and they can discuss and John can bring it back to us?
Yeah, just,
I will
I
do
just
that.
thought a week earlier wouldn't be bad. After
Yeah,
Thanksgiving, which is a full week
Yeah.
before that.
I mean, it gets pretty late into the 14th, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, most
and
people
it
try
could be an
to,
exception. And it doesn't
most
matter.
people try to start Christmas right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and we're 14 days in. That's,
Yeah.
the month is half gone.
Yeah, in many previous years, we were more around the 7th or the 9th.
That's what
I think it's
that's
just.
what I remember.
I think at some point, we made a determination that it would be the second
Okay.
one, and it's just the way the
And
calendar
I'm
fell.
happy to compete with
Waxaw.
Waxaw.
Yeah.
Just letting you guys know. Okay, I think that's the only thing I had on open topics. Any other things we want to bring up? Okay. That being said, none. Review of action items.
Don't really have a lot. We'll move
Free
forward with
to
that
go.
special meeting on Wednesday, January 3rd at 9 a.m. Christina's going to execute the Part F agreement. We'll bring back a budget, a capital project ordinance for that. I'm going to revise the flyer and postcard to add pickleball courts. You guys are going to get coffee of council invites from me, and we will put the tree lighting date on PRG's next agenda.
I got a couple more. Tullamore Phase 3 trees, we'll bring that back up in spring if that option's not suitable for the affected residents. The pickleball tennis court, we'll get some quotes and some more information and put that back at the work session.
Davey's going to send an email to Keith.
Yep, dry pond email.
Good job.
And that's it.
Okay.
The chimneys didn't work.
Moving on. It's the one we almost
Wait
had to
for
change
all
this-
day.
Almost had to change this list.
Yep,
Mayor Pro Kim.
that's right.
Pulling it up now.
What do you mean, hold up now? Hold up.
All right.
Okay, I think we can take off, on Roundabout, we can take off lighting, because has anybody noticed that the lights are up? They look so good. I noticed the other night. No, okay, nobody's that excited? Cool.
The update on
I don't go out
Wednesday.
after dark.
What, Austin?
Are we taking up the item in its entirety?
Just, no, just take off the lighting, because we got to finish landscape in the spring. So just take off the lighting. And then it says that, nope, that's right, never mind. Councilman Wortman, have you called NCDOT about their refusal to allow the installation of school zone speed
I have
limit
not.
signs? Okay. Christina, have you reached out to Waxaw Board, the new Waxaw Board of Commissioners about off-duty officers, their
Yes,
support?
I did in November. I was going to follow up after their new board was sworn in.
Okay. Have we proceeded with the truck purchase?
We have.
So we can mark that complete?
It'll be several months before we get it, so if y'all
But
want
I
to leave
mean,
it.
but we purchased it. Okay, complete. Okay. All right, I'm good, I'm done, thank you. Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you.
Peoples.
Council comments.
Start with Johnny, the newbie.
You got to start with John.
Just wanted to say thank you for the support that many of you folks gave me in deciding to join council, and the support as we went through the election season, and appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve the village of Marvin, and look forward to doing great things ahead with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Andy.
Well, I'd just like to welcome John to the council. A lot of years serving together on PRG, and we did a lot of things along those years, and looking forward to working with you on council.
All right, thank you, Andy.
Well, the same thing. Welcome, John. And I wanted to take a moment to thank Davey. I've already asked or talked to Tyler. I thought that the tree lighting ceremony absolutely was knockout out of the park. Of all the previous I've ever visited, to include the tree itself. I mean, the tree was awesome. It was beautiful. And the choir and the snow. The kids had so much fun. So thank you. And it was so, again, reminded me of Marvin Day. It was so professional to have the staff there guiding all of the cars. You know how many cars were there? Because it was crowded. You know, it was all professional. They were signaling people in and out and everything else. I said, wow, like this was really professional. You did a great job, so thank you very much. And I, as I mentioned to Tyler, thank for all the hard work he did too, so. But mostly the staff, and again, thank you, the whole staff, because everybody was there in costume. Thank you. It was great.
Just like seeing you dressed up, Bob.
Wayne?
Ron, welcome. Thank the staff, and one of the things I liked about the tree lighting was the snow. The kids really enjoyed running in and out in it, and the staff did well, very well, as far as counting cars and moving the traffic.
Thanks, Wayne. Jamie?
John, welcome. You're going to be a great addition to the council, and we look forward to working with you for the next 4 years. I hate I missed the tree lighting. I was busy tending to some other business.
And what business was that,
Well,
Mr. Lyon?
I was looking to my future. No, I had a great opportunity of getting married on Saturday to my lovely bride, Christine.
Congratulations.
So it was very nice, but I was thinking of the tree lighting because it's very special. I think by any measure, this entire year has been just a huge success for the Village of Marvin. And I say the Village of Marvin, not the council, but for the Village of Marvin. The things that we've been able to accomplish over the last year, this staff has done a tremendous job from top to bottom, whether it's events, whether it's going out and doing bonds, or all the things that we've accomplished. This has been, by any measure, a very successful year, and thanks goes to each and every one of you. Thanks to law enforcement, we've gone through, knock on wood, we haven't really had any incidents with our law enforcement, and that scares me all the time. But thanks to them, thanks to staff, thanks to council for we all being able to work together and to accomplish a lot of great things. So thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John, welcome. We're so glad you're here, and congratulations to Bob and Joe and Jamie for getting reelected. We're so glad you decided to run again, because like Jamie just said, we have gotten so much accomplished, not just this year, but over the past couple of years with staff and this council and the community, the support that we've gotten. So I really do appreciate that. I did want to congratulate Jamie and Christine for getting married. And then the park staff, you guys did an amazing job at the tree lighting. It was wonderful. And I don't know if whoever was there, if you guys noticed the amazing lights that were put up in the parking lot. They look so good, so good. I told Silvio how good they looked. So you guys need to check them out because they really do look good. I do think we need a few more strategically placed, but I think they looked amazing. So I'm really looking forward to another amazing year coming up and all that we can accomplish. And, you know, we really can. You know, we put a lot on staff, but you guys always rise to the occasion. So thank you guys all for that. And Chaplain, thank you for always challenging us and keeping us out of jail, literally. So we appreciate that. That's all I got.
Thank you, Kim. I myself welcome John. Appreciate you throwing your hat in the ring. I know we had discussions leading up to that, and there was opportunities in the past that you chose, you know, it said you told me you thought about and stuff, and I'm just so glad that, you know, given your background with the Village of Marvin and how much time and dedication you have already spent to the village, I think you're just going to be a wonderful addition, and I will certainly be listening to your comments that you've already shared information in this meeting, which was good for us to know, knowing the background of PRG. and looking forward to you leading that committee. So welcome, and please feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions, but I think you already got it figured out, right? So welcome. Staff, as always, thank you. You guys, you just always tend to knock it out of the park. I'd like to go back and thank the citizens of Marvin for the participating in the Friendship Tree. I will say that I had people call me and say, yeah, we want to do that. I'm like, you're too late. And this was like that fast, they're gone. So maybe that's a need for more families and stuff, but we definitely feel it. So thank you, residents of Marvin, if you're listening and you participated. Tree lighting ceremony, again, it was, I was telling our choir and our band to go out and get some hot chocolate, and then I noticed no one was going over there, and I realized they were out of hot chocolate. And she apologized to me and said, we were only told to plan for 150, and we sent out 225 cups, and we're out. So those are good problems to have, something to think of for the next Christmas tree lighting. The tree was unbelievable. I just kept admiring that. In fact, that will probably be our Christmas card because our family was together that night. So Kim took that picture if anyone gets a card from us. And if you don't, then you're not on our list, I guess, so. And I said, obviously, congrats to John, also the re-elected council members, Bob and Jamie, and glad you guys were back on board, and we have you for another 4 years. Part F grants, what I mentioned, whoever we can thank, if there was someone to thank, I'd like to reach out and maybe send a letter or something to that effect. Jamie, your marriage, I learned it through my wife, through Facebook, which she said, come look. And I got to see a few fun pictures of you in, where's it, Marco Island? Yeah, so congrats to you. Thank you also, Marvin Ridge High School Choir and Band for your performances and coming out. I think that just made it a very nice touch with the tree lighting. And finally, I'd like to wish you all Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Happy Hanukkah, and if you're celebrating anything special over the holidays. So with that, I don't think we have any closed session.
Not anymore.
So we will need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you all.
Good job, everybody. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Kim?
You're welcome.
Continuing on.
Bye, Hunter. Wait, what's Thursday? Oh, my house. Yep, yes, you will. That's
Wow.
right. Is Casey gonna come down?
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Who are all these people knocking at our door?
Yeah. What are you here?